ABC Sport.
Welcome to ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 Sir Doug Nicholls Round.
On your radio,
Sport Digital,
and on the ABC Listen app.
Just look for the AFL button.
For the first time in 151 years, St Kilda enters Saturday night footy as Euroyulop tonight as they take on Fremantle, who'll be known as Waliop for the second consecutive year. The name of the Fremantle region, the 9th edition of Sir Doug Nicholls Round, continuing on ABC Sport. A third of the AFL clubs will change their name in translation to the traditional owners of the land, and it's our pleasure to bring it to you for Saturday night footy on ABC Sport. Both these sides are outside the 8. In fact, they've had their challenges, with the Saints having lost 4 of their past 5, while the Fremantle Dockers have won just 2 of their last 6. Matt Clinch with you for ABC Sport. Andrew Mays to call the action alongside me. Welcome, Maisie.
Good evening, Clinchy. Very much looking forward to this one. Needs to be a tight tussle, you would think, for Freo to keep themselves and their slim finals chances alive, and then the Saints looking to get something out of the second half of this season, no doubt.
No late changes for either side. Zach Jones and Tommy Emmett will be the subs tonight. All the Hall of Famers on the back road tonight. The St Kilda champion Nathan Burke is here. Welcome, Burkey.
Hello, Clinchy. Maisie. Yes, people keep asking me what's going to happen. Got no idea.
And alongside Berkey, the Kangas champion Brent Harvey is here. Welcome, Boomer.
Yes, good afternoon, boys. Glad to be here, and hopefully it's a good, close game, Berkey.
Euro can wally up to kick off proceedings for Sir Doug Nicholls Round 10 of the AFL on ABC Sport. Here's Andrew Mays.
Jackson rose high, but it was Marshall who was able to shark it and then kick it long inside attacking 50. No mark taken. Pearce is able to gather, got his hands free. Off to Brayshaw, then longest wrong, off half-back, and now to Ryan. And Ryan flares it out wide. Good strong hands by Frederick. Leads on the wing and has it right on centre wing. Strong mark in front of Wanganeen Miller.
Nat 5 starting in the centre bounce for the Dockers.
Long kick up forward. No mark taken again. Crumbs available at the front of the pack, and not able to grab the ball was Brayshaw. Now onto it is Dow. Broke one tackle. Got it off to Wanganeen Miller. Now a chance for Fife, who can get onto the spillage. Frederick around the boundary line, and I'm sure he was out of bounds. All the umpires agreed there as Johnson just stepped over, so we'll have a boundary throw in between wing and half forward here for Walilup.
Paddy Dow making his first appearance for the Saints, lining up against Brayshaw. So good to see him back in. Played about 4 or 5 for Sandringham in the VFL. Just get a bit of match fitness after an injured end to his pre-season. And down on the boundary tonight for us is Ian Cohen. Welcome to you, Koza.
Yes, thanks very much, Matt. While you're up, their jumper has been designed a lot by Michael Johnson, the club legend, and Uroke have got the water in the hills of Naarm in the red, yellow and black, and they're off.
They certainly are as Henry kicks the Saints to half forward. Wilson takes the mark. King's on a long lead. Pitches on a point in front of him and Pearce. It's off the back heel of the Dockers defender and eventually goes out of play in front of Sharp. So a throw in the right forward pocket for the Saints. Opening couple of minutes here at Docklands.
King had Pearce cold, then Pearce fell over, and the kick by Wilson just wasn't good enough to hit King. Otherwise it would have been a shot on goal for the Saints.
I don't reckon his leading pattern was great either. Should have come back at the kicker.
9 goals in 6 games for Max King, who has been under pressure like a lot have at Moorabbin. It's Clark for the Dockers. Kicks a long ball up to the wing. It clears Amos and Tracy at the back of the pack. A chance for Webster for the Saints. Hand pass to Ron Marshall. Off balance as he gets a kick forward. He's able to find Mason Wood.
He goes by hand further afield to Dow. The delivery inside 50. It's to the pocket. No mark taken. Now Henry is tackled immediately, and he'll be happy to force a ball up, right forward pocket here for the Saints. Deep inside attacking 50. Tossed up. Jackson reached over the top. Sharked though by Wood. Squeezed out a kick. Now Owens onto it. Was he taken high? Not quite. Another ball up. Still stuck inside the right forward pocket, but a few repeat stoppages here for the Saints.
Euro through Caminiti doing the ruck work in the forward 50, trying to link up with Henry. He becomes the tackler on Clark, and the umpire will ball it up. Of course, Ross Lyon, the former St Kilda and Fremantle coach, has some exchanges with the former Dockers players in which he would have coached. Nat Fife was one of them. The ball is thrown back into play. Jackson up against Caminiti. Caminiti worked out of it by Jackson, who breaks away from the stoppage. Looks up to the wing. Kicks in the direction of Tracy. In front, Marshall spoils it down for the Saints. He's first back onto it. The Saints ruckman. Hand pass to Wood. High kick inside 50. Owen sets himself. King comes crashing through. Still a chance for the Saints, but H lays the tackle. And he locks the ball up in the right forward pocket. No scores through the opening 3 minutes. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport.
Ball spent a fair bit of time in the Saints attacking 50. Nothing has come of it yet. Socket away from the stoppage. Switkowski onto it with Sinclair, and Sinclair happy enough to see it out of bounds. Just outside attacking 50 now for the Saints.
This is okay for the Saints. They won't mind this, Berkey. Time in forward half in football, that's 4 inside 50s to 0. Just repeat stoppages. Usually you get a score after 4 or 5 of them.
Marshall pushed in front there by Jackson. It's Fremantle onto it. Now a chance for Sarong. Just pulls the kick nicely into the middle. Oh, big collision! I think it was Frederick going back with the flight and he was taken out. It was an accident. All in the contest. Play continues. Henry's got 4 to the ball. 55 out for Yuroki. Goes inside 50. Aish, no mark taken. Now a chance still inside that right forward pocket. Owens finds a bit of space on the left. Does it have the carry? Yes! Euro with the first of the evening, courtesy of Mitch Owens. The Saints lead by that goal, but goodness me, that was a heavy collision, and there are trainers all around. Let's head downstairs. Koza.
Yeah, indeed. The stretcher is going out at the moment, and I think it might have been Jimmy Webster, who, of course, had some issues pre-season as well, and spent some time on the sideline through suspension. So there is a level of concern around the Fremantle player, Fredericks, who's down there at the moment, and the stretcher's just gone out.
Yeah, it's Josh Draper who's the player for Fremantle who was collided into by Webster, and all the medical staff have made their way out. He hasn't moved from the turf, so the mobile stretcher will make its way out, and he is now able to get to his feet. So the stretcher just made its way out onto Docklands, but more pleasing is that Josh Draper is going to leave the field by his own accord. And you can hear the Fremantle fans who are to the right of your radio as we see it, as he comes to the bench with Nat Fyfe just in front. Ian Cohen.
Yeah, you can see Josh making his way under his own steam, which is great news. So that is good. He's obviously going to be assessed. He's got a gaggle of medical people around at the moment.
You're right, mate. It was Michael Frederick. So just confusion there as Draper came across to offer support, but Frederick came to the bench, and thankfully he is okay.
Big hit, Berkey.
Yeah.
But it was in play. There was nothing dirty about that. I know Webster already got 4 or 5 weeks, or 5 or 6 weeks, I think it was. Back
in the middle of the ground, Marshall doing battle with Jackson. Well, Marshall over the top, trying to knock the ball clear. Can't do so. Sarong lays the tackle on Winhager, and the umpire will board up just in the outer of the centre circles. You're with the opening goal of the match. They're 1 straight 6 to Fremantle yet to score. From the ball up, spills the way of Hill. He's tackled immediately and can't bust clear as Jager O'Meara lays the tackle for the Dockers.
Tossed up. Jackson grabbed it out of the ruck on this occasion. And taken to the ground is Patton. We'll have another stoppage. Let's head downstairs.
Yeah, Freddie, who we spoke to about 3 or 4 weeks ago, has just headed downstairs with the medical staff, so he's going to be assessed.
It was a great chat too. Hopefully he is okay. We'll get an update from Ian Cohen downstairs, bringing us the latest. Meanwhile, running out of room a little bit there is Walker as he received the hand pass from Luke Ryan. Right half back for the Dockers. Happy enough to force a stoppage, see it out of bounds and reset.
You're right, Boomer. The field position is all the Saints at the moment. Ball's locked in their forward half, setting up their defence behind the football, making it really difficult for Fremantle to get it down there inside their forward 50.
Thrown back into play. Now the outer zone umpire called a holding free kick, and Sarong is the recipient for the Dockers. He goes short to O'Meara, and O'Meara centres things up to centre half back where Walker's away. There's a couple of options out wide. One of them was Walters, had to wait for it. It hung in the air a little, wasn't able to complete the mark. Webster, the hand pass over to Sinclair for the Saints, who's off and running. Long kick, and lovely mark there by King. Just able to edge Pearce underneath the ball. He can fire them inside 50.
Where Winhager has pushed forward, he goes for him. Clark in from the side makes the spoil. Sees the ball out of play for Walliop. The throw in the right forward pocket for the Saints. They're 1 straight 6 to the Dockers yet to score.
it's the numbers around the ball at the moment. Every time it hits the ground, the Saints have got 1 or 2 extra there, able to clean it up and get the ball going their way. They're just working a little bit harder than the Dockers at the minute.
6 inside 50s to none the way of the Saints as it's thrown back in. Jackson in front position, palms it down, charging onto it. Young gets the hand pass out. Jamming it on the boot was Clark, kicks up towards the wing. Amos flying in the end with his teammate Tracy, and Tracy taps it to his own advantage. He's worked out of it though as Howard gathers for the Saints. Hand pass to Webster. Sarong tries to knock it out. Still a chance for the Dockers as Young gets the hand pass out. Johnston has to retreat back to Walker. Hand pass to Sarong. To Young into the middle of the ground. Now a bit more space. He looks up and O'Meara's pushed forward. He marks. Options are plenty in the right forward pocket. Can poke it over the top. And the mark is taken by Voss on a 45-degree angle. Only around 20 metres out from goal.
And well done by O'Meara there too. A lot of players marked the ball from 45-8 and turned their back directly to goal. If he had done that, he would have missed the Fremantle player in Voss. So quick thinking.
Patrick Voss in his third game. The former Bombers listed player. He comes in looking for the Dockers opening goal and he misses to the left-hand side. Gully up 1 behind to Euro 1 straight 6. We've played 9 minutes in the opening quarter. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport.
Sinclair with the kick-in duties for the Saints. Spins the ball a couple of times. Comes one way and then decides against that. Goes to the right back pocket. Mark taken by Howard. Looking for an outlet. It's Webster who took the chest mark and Amos closed on him very late there. Almost got the spoil in. Webster across to Battle. Battle still almost in his defensive goal square. Goes back to the pocket where it is Howard who kicks a low piercing ball. A good one too. Out to Steele. Hand pass to the running Wood who then cuts a line down the wing. No mark taken to Young who was gliding in from the side in front of that pack at ground level. Battles hard. Now Henry for the Saints. Kicks inside 50. King from behind. Couldn't bring down the mark. There's a free kick. Hill was running away and streaming into space. Well, it is going to go the way of Heath Chapman for the Dockers.
Lucky there. Lucky that was a free kick because Hill had got front and centre. Was pretty much going to stroll into an open goal.
So the Dockers try and find an avenue out of defence through Jordan Clark, who runs his full measure, then sends Loyal up towards the wing. Bamfield in a tangle with Wilkie, close to the boundary line, and a free kick going against Wilkie. For a hold on Bamfield, he'll take it centre wing broadcast side.
There's not a whole lot happening here, Berkey. It looks like it's a bit of a boxing match and they're just waiting to see who throws that first punch, and a bit of a standoff at the minute. A lot of chipping the ball around, a lot of uncontested marks to date. You're
by 5 points as Ryan across half-back for the Dockers. Goes short to Johnson. Oh. What a great kick. Don't know who he was trying to find there at half-forward. And Ron Marshall takes the mark for the Saints. Hand pass to Hill. Kicks through the middle of the ground. And the mark is taken by Mason Wood.
Wood loads up, goes inside 50. Henry tracking back with the flight. Couldn't take the mark at ground level. It is Wally up with the numbers. And it's held to Clark's chest by Henry.
Can we go back to that kick by Johnson?
Yeah.
He's hit the opposition ruckman with nobody within 35 metres of him.
In the ruck contest, it is
bizarre.
Yeah, it was bizarre. Yeah. It is Jackson who flew
sure.
on.
It's definitely not a clash jumper, is it?
No. The next 3 players in line were all Saints players too.
Young Sharks this tap. And a kick with the right boot. Banfield, a little bit of work to do. Can he keep it in play? Not. Oh, he did in the end. Got it back to O'Meara, who then turned it over by foot. A chance now for Marshall. Got it to Dow. Now to Bonner, and by hand back to Hill, who kicks inside 50. Where are the jumpers? It was Sharman from the side who couldn't complete the mark. Now at ground level, Collard, a right foot kick across the face of goal, and well done by Sharp for the Dockers. Read that nicely in the left back pocket. Took the mark going back with the flight of the ball, and he'll try and repel.
Saints by 5 points as Sharp looks up towards half-back. A beautiful pass that finds Jackson. Looks into the corridor, nothing on offer, so sends it wider still. Out to Walters, who takes the mark centre wing. Up on a long lead is Tracy. He marks between wing and half forward for the Dockers. He's got Voss and Amos inside 50. Swings onto his right, kicks to Voss on the lead. It clears him, and Battle almost takes the mark. He does. In fact, down low to his right, was able to gather just before it hit the turf. Switches back in the left back pocket for Hill. He can chip it over the top to Wilson. Euro leading by 5 points as Wilson dances around Ryan on the mark and kicks long up the wing. King's the target. He's being held by Draper, and a free kick going the St Kilda Spearheads way at centre wing.
King looking for that next option. Webster short inside. Instead he goes boundary side and hits Steele, who runs 10 metres and then kicks to the top of the square. Who's going to fly here for the Saints? No one in the end. Got all the way to the back of the pack, now under a bit of pressure. Pearce just got the handball away at the last moment. Off to Ryan, right back pocket. His kick smothered. We'll have another ball in, left forward pocket for the Saints. Ball has spent a lot of time in their attacking 50 this evening.
Certainly has. 10-2 inside 50s. In, 13.5 minutes of football. Fremantle's only gone in twice.
Unfortunately, most of them have been bomb kicks in there, like that one. That's going to play into Pearce's hands. He rarely gets outmarked on those, so I'd like them to hit a lead up. Just keep possession of the ball a little bit better.
Saints by 5. Owens thought he might have been caught high on the way down from that ruck contest. Umpire said held to him. And he'll ball it up left forward pocket for the Saints.
From the stoppage, a chance for Paddy Dow, trying to get the Saints forward towards the goal mouth. It spills down the way of Patton, who gets it back to Dow, end over end towards goal. What a finish! Paddy well, all right. His first goal as a Saint in his new colours and making his impressions known early. Just a large portion of the start of the season with bone bruising. The initial fears was it was an ACL. He's worked his way back to full fitness, and what a way to start your career in the Saints colours. Europe lead by 11 points. They're 2 straight 12 to Wally up 1 behind. Nathan Burke and Brent Harvey with you on ABC Sport.
It's a great finish, Burke, isn't it? It's and that's what happens when you get repeat stoppages. You get another opportunity, and then if you don't score from it, then just take a nice little leg break there too. And Shane Warne be very happy of his Saint there in Paddy Dow. When you get repeat stoppages, you put the pressure on the opposition, and 4-5, you've got to be on the ball. So fantastic play by the Saints. Fremantle can't leak these inside 50s. 10-2 inside 50s now, I think it is, and got their work cut out. But you're right, Saints need to take full advantage of it. The Bulls have been in their forward half for a majority of this first quarter.
Back in the middle, Marshall got the tap. The clearance is going to go the way of the Dockers. Brayshaw got through one tackle, off to Fife by hand, out wider still to Sharp. High kick inside 50. Jackson trying to fly at this, got one hand to it, couldn't complete the mark, and it's all wrapped up at the bottom of that pack.
Time in forward half, 67% to 33% in favour of the Saints.
So here's a stoppage inside attacking 50 for the Dockers. Tracy won it down, bounced back end over end. Now Walters, he didn't dispose of it correctly. No prior said the opportunity, said the umpire rather. And now a chance for the Saints. Filippo close to the boundary line. He'll be happy to see this over, and he concedes the ball in. Right at the intersection of the 50-metre line and the boundary line. Left half forward here for the Dockers. They trail by 11. We've played 16 minutes opening term.
Tracy doing the ruck work for the Dockers against Marshall. They tangle and Marshall lost his footing. Then Tracy lays the tackle. Over the top, eventually the ball comes clear. Winhager can't break away as Brayshaw lays the tackle. And a ball up 50 metres out from Wally Up's goal. Something the Saints so far in the opening stages here. Brayshaw tries to fend off the tackle. He's tackled by Paddy Dow. It spills out to Johnson. Finds an avenue forward, but not at the last moment. Winhager got him, and he wins the free kick for the Saints inside the defensive 50.
Caleb Sarong's been standing on the bench for about 4 minutes. He just can't get on. The ball's been on the other side of the ground for the last 3 or 4 minutes.
Switches it back inside the defensive 50 to Howard, who kicks up to Wood. Left half back. Half pass to Wanganeen Miller, and away he goes. He takes a bounce as he runs the boundary line. Got a good shepherd from Marshall, but the kick was offline and out of bounds on the full. So a good build-up, but just couldn't quite execute at full pace. Ian Cohen's on the boundary. Any sign of Michael Frederick yet, Koza?
Not as yet, but Tom Emmett is still sitting in the back row. He's been up warming up, but no urgency at this stage.
Ryan off to Clark. Clark across half back. It's over the head of Walker, who left it for Sharp. Nice little hand pass back to Chapman, and now back to Sharp. This is the important kick. He's got Johnson. It just reaches him. 30 out from his defensive goal. Hung in the air a little bit, just inviting Collard to apply a little bit of pressure. Not a great kick to his teammate now. And it's a turnover in favour of the Saints. Windhager bounces through one tackle and two, then snaps, pushed off the kick. It goes high up and under. Pearce, when the double-fisted spoil towards the boundary line. It'll get there in the end. The umpire will throw this in a right forward pocket for the Saints. Let's head downstairs.
Yeah, well, the urgency has ramped up a little. Tom Emmett is now up and about for his 12th game. It looks like Michael Frederick has been ruled out.
Involved in that collision with Jimmy Webster early. Thrown back in. Yoroke inside the forward 50. Mitch Owens becomes the tackler on Luke Jackson. It's 40 metres out from the Saints' goal. Tossed up in the air. Jackson over the top of Owens. Is able to comfortably win down the tap, but it's Windhager for the Saints. Gets the hand pass away. Woods kick towards the goal mouth. Getting back Aish. Takes the mark in front of Max King. Gets the hand pass away to Clark. Kicks up towards halfback.
Beautiful
and
kick.
The mark is taken by Tracy for Wallier.
Didn't have a lot forward of centre, so he goes to Fife laterally. Then gives it to the running Walker, who takes a bounce. Lovely fend on his way through too. Off to right half forward. Banfield takes the mark. Wood overcommitted. Banfield to the top of the square. Long raking kick. Amos didn't get a fly at it. Saints with the numbers at ground level. Battle the handball over the top to Owens. Geez, that was a dicey one. Gave it away in the end. O'Meara able to tap it to the advantage of Jackson at the top of 50 here. Off to Young. You don't want the ball in his hands as a Saints supporter. He flares and misses across the face. Disappointed with that one, Hayden Young.
Just that last entry by Banfield. He had a forward hitting up at him. It's the easiest kick in football, the 25-metre lower your eyes and take the timing off the ball. And he's just gone to the top of the square. You've got to be better than that. That's the most important kick in football going inside 50.
The AFL Games record holder Brent Harvey alongside Nathan Burke with you on ABC Sport. Sinclair kicks up the wing for the Saints, but Tracy takes the intercepting mark. Sends Wally up forward with a hand pass to Clark. A driving kick. Looking for Amos as a 2-on-1. Wilkie with a little shove. He did it legally as he marks at the top of the defensive goal square. Bounces back to his feet and wants to move it quickly. Out to Wilson at right half-back. Kicks around the outer wing with a pass up to Mitch Owens. He has it at right half-back. The Saints 2 straight 12 to the Dockers 2 behinds. Long kick up towards Rowan Marshall, who is being held by Walker. He'll take the free kick between wing and half forward.
Ball makes its way back to Ruckman, who goes inboard with his pass to Wanganeen Millerer. He darts one into Henry, who marks at the top of 50. Now, this might be just on his range. He's going to go into the pocket anyway. It's a long penetrating kick. Clark there cutting across Philippou, who was behind him, and seeing it out for a boundary throw-in. Good spoil.
It's a waste. You got the ball 52 metres out, dead in front, middle of the corridor, and you kick the ball 30 metres around the boundary line. It gets punched over the boundary line. Just be patient. Take your time. Somebody leads at you. You'll be able to hit them up. Doesn't matter if you get 3 or 4 kicks to get into the scoring position.
12-6 the inside 50s early the Saints way as Brayshaw gets the clearance. Hand pass away to Young up towards the wing. Tracy's outnumbered, brought down by Wilkie. A chance though as it's gathered by the Dockers. Force hand pass to O'Meara, brought down. Henry laid the tackle. Play on's the call. Voss with the fend off on Wanganeen Millerer. Gets it to Fife. He ran into a dead end and he's brought down. The Fremantle superstar. And a great tackle by Paddy Dow working at both ends. Wins the ball back for the Saints.
Saints people will tell you that's the difference. They haven't seen that all year. A player getting out of one tackle, then somebody else there to nab them with that second and third effort tackle. Hasn't been a feature of the game. Last year was the strongest feature of the game overall, but we haven't seen it at all this year. But so far, first quarter, it's been on song.
Dow to Bonner, to Wanganeen Millerer. All inside their defensive 50. Back to Bonner. He goes up the middle, and the mark is taken there by Marshall. Shocking kick. Kicked a sack straight to Jordan Clark, who actually did well to pick up an awkward bouncing ball. Kicks inside 50, and those turnovers kill you. Nat Fife, 45 metres out directly in front, all on his own. Let's head downstairs, Ian Cohen.
Yeah, Tom Emmett has come on, so repeating the news, Michael Frederick has failed his concussion test, and Tom Emmett gets a chance for his 12th game.
Big collision in the first quarter if you're just joining us. So Nat Fife, he'll have to kick from 45. Not a long kick these days, and this is barely going to make the distance. In fact, it is out of bounds on the full, missing everything to the right-hand side. So the margin's still 10 points in favour of the Saints. 22 played first term. Meanwhile, it's Brisbane by 38 over Richmond in the first quarter up at the Gabba.
Yeah, they get the opening 6 goals there at the Gabba as the Saints work it up the wing. Winhager marks, and now to Max King. He plays on it right half forward, kicks to the pocket. It's too wide for Mitch Owens. Maybe just a rush of blood trying to move it as quickly as possible. Couldn't quite control it. And Heath Chapman will take the free kick for Wally up in the left back pocket. The Saints 2 straight 12 to the Dockers 2 behinds. Long kick up the wing. Set himself Banfield, flies against Marshall, down at ground level. Marshall was clean by hand, hand pass to Winhager, missed the intended target in Wilson. Little soccer off the ground, is picked up by Amira. The Dockers through Sarong, one way then the other. Jags back on his right, kicks up towards Voss. Wanganeen Miller in from the side, spoils it down. Swikowski gathers against the boundary line, kicks off the outside of the boot. A centering ball, it might work. On the bounce to Amos, wrestling with Wilkie. Spills out the way of Andy Brayshaw, shovels a hand pass back to Fife. Centering kick down low, and Walker takes the mark.
Walker laterally to Ryan, who gets to right half forward. He can load up from here. Instead, unselfishly, goes into the pocket, and the mark is taken. About 35 out from goal by Johnson. He'll line up for Wallylup's first goal of the evening. 24 minutes played opening term, and they trail by 10 points.
And that's a kick. That's the kick by Ryan. You've got to drop your ice, and Kilda, you know they're going to get back and flood, so they all want to play back shoulder. The things that open up, you've got to make St Kilda defend. So that's a great kick by Ryan going inside forward 50.
Tight angle here for Matthew Johnson. He's hit it pretty well. In fact, he liked it as soon as it hit his boot. The first of the night for Wallylup. It's taken 24 minutes in the opening term, but they draw back to within 4 points of the Saints. 1-2-8 plays 2 straight 12. And we've got about 3 minutes of playing time left in the opening term. Your experts on ABC Sport tonight, Nathan Burke and Boom Harvey.
Berkey, that's what happens now that they draw close. They're only 4 points behind, but St Kilda have had all the play. So when you go inside forward 50 and you've had 11-2 inside 50s and you don't kick the score, the opposition is still in the game. They should be. They probably should be 4 goals up, the Saints, with the amount of entries they've had. It's
just the way that they waste entries going forward. We've seen numerous ones kicked out of bounds on the full. They've just been bombing to the top of the goal square, lowering the eyes, hitting a leading play. They've got enough tall players down there besides Max King to actually lead at the ball, but for some reason they refuse to do it.
So relief for Wallyup after kicking 4-15 last week against the Sydney Swans. Back in the middle of the ground, we'll have a second stoppage. It's thrown in the air. Marshall and Jackson cannon into each other as shepherding, and it's going to go the Dockers' way. Jackson wasn't returned the footy, but no penalty against Euro because Jackson gets the hand pass away to Brayshaw. High kick inside 50, charging out. Amos as he worked underneath it. Clean pick up by Voss. Gets the hand pass away to Young. A kick out wide to Sharp. I think it wasn't intended for him, but he pinches it as Emmett comes out of the lead. And a chance for the Dockers to put through back-to-back goals, closing in on quarter time.
Again, could had the opportunity to blaze away, but didn't blaze away. Just saw a player popped out of the pack at the forward side of the pack and hit him nicely. So he gets the chance now. He'll make the distance very easily. It's not a very tough angle for a right-footer, so could put them in front.
The former Gold Coast son out to the left from around 40 metres out to put Freo in front. Sharp comes in, and that's a beautiful finish. The Dockers were slow out of the blocks, but they kicked the last 2 goals to take the lead ahead of quarter time. Wallylup 2-2-14. Euro 2 straight 12. 26 minutes gone. Opening quarter on ABC Sport with Brent Harvey and Nathan Burke.
And that's the advantage of getting the ball into your good ball users. The last 2 entries for Fremantle have been Ryan, and who just kicked that last one in?
Young.
And of course Young, who's a beautiful kick. You don't have to just be a good kick, Burke. You've got to have great decision making, and that's what he done then. And you called it really well. Had every right to blaze away on his left foot. He could have had a shot from 45 out, but just dropped the eyes, put Sharp in a better position to kick the goal. So very good play by the Dockers, and believe it or not, they're a couple of points ahead.
A couple of minutes left in this opening term. Good bounce by the umpire in the middle. Marshall grabs it out of the ruck, then kicked it off the side of the boot. Sharp might reach this one first. It bounced awkwardly for him. It's bunted forward there by Hill, who then gets to the contest over the top, becomes the tackler, and we'll have a ball up forward of centre wing for the Saints.
Something we haven't spoken about, Windhager going to Sarong as well, but Sarong's working super hard. Only had the 6 touches, a little bit down for him, but a very good player.
Make it 7 as he got the hand pass away to Aish, and then the hand pass going back inside defensive 50 was a little dodgy. Now off to Sharman, just got his hands free. Was it a handball? No, says the umpire, holding the ball. And Walker has it at centre half back, flares it out wide to Chapman.
He had people to give it to as well. It just wasn't the first thought. First thought was goals.
Chapman called to play on, so swings boundary side at right half back, kicks long up to Amos in a wrestle with Wilkie. The St Kilda defender gets a fist to it and spoils it out of play. 0437 774 774 is the SMS number into the ABC commentary box. A cheerio to Julia and Brian. They're listening from Tokyo. Go the Dockers. Marcus in South Melbourne wonders why I don't think Webster should be reported. How come no free kick was paid when he clattered into Michael Frederick? He was all over his head and neck. Instead, the Saints got a goal. We'll come back to that. As Ace from the stoppage, hand pass to Jackson for the Dockers, links up with Young, gets the right half forward, hand pass over the top to Sarong, looks for options inside 50, and it's a beautifully weighted kick. And in the end was able to find Voss leading out and takes the mark on his chest.
Looks like a opposing figure. How tall is it?
He is 195 centimetres.
Yeah, he's a big boy.
20 years of age, formerly a rookie listed player with the Bombers for a couple of seasons. Didn't get to feature there, grew up in the Riverina. Gets his opportunity here at the Fremantle Dockers. And Patrick Voss is on the board here. And Wallula continue with their purple patch, taking back control and stretching their advantage. They lead by 8 points, 3-2-20 to the Saints, 2 straight 12. So it was 6-0 the inside 50s to start with. All of a sudden the Dockers off the back of their tackling, 22-12. Starting to wrestle back that momentum, 14-11 the inside 50s the Saints' way.
Yeah, it's been a sort of a half each, isn't it? Fremantle didn't start very well, and now they've come really back. But I'm going to bang on about it the whole night, Perky. That's the most important kick. I know people are going to say that's a silly call because you've got to kick the goal as well. I understand that, but to put Voss in a position there where he can mark it, Sarong, beautiful kick. Great decision-making. Their last 3 entries they've gone in, they've scored goals from all 3.
It's the difference between the two teams.
Yep.
They've had 3 directed entries to find free players, kick 3 goals. Saints from all of their inside 50s have been unable to do that.
3 goals in the last 5 minutes, and Mollywup are running hot. Now looking to come out of the middle through H, who was tackled strongly by Henry. Ball spilt free at the last moment, then came back underneath him. Umpire said no prior, and we will have a ball up. Marshall looking for Philippou. It ended up with Hill. Now Windhager fighting for it over the top. Scooped underneath him. Umpire was good enough to say that was done by Young over the top, so we'll have another stoppage. Still inside the centre square here. Looking for the ruck nominations. Oh, geez, Jackson could have got Marshall high there. He did. So the umpire gives it to the Saints. Ruckman, who goes inside attacking 50, and Siren beat everyone, much to the frustration of Rowan Marshall. And that is quarter time. Wallula up 3-20, leading Euroke 2 straight 12. The goal kickers for Euroke, 1 to Owens and 1 to Dow. Wallula up all singles, Johnson, Sharp and Voss, the goal kickers.
Meanwhile, at the Gabba, it's the Brisbane Lions who have put on 7 in the opening quarter. So 7-4-46 to Richmond, 5 behind. So
we got the close one.
Yeah, the Tigers, certainly their struggles in terms of personnel continuing, and Adam Muse's debut season is getting harder and harder. Saturday night footy under the roof of Docklands. Great to have your company. It's the Dockers who lead by 8 points on ABC Sport.
Patrick Stack here from ABC Sport Daily. If you like sport,
sort of everyone describes it in the peloton as the most beautiful race, and it's the race where the real cyclists come.
And great conversation.
Unfortunately for Jason Demetrio, I don't think South Sydney had much of another option but to pull the trigger.
Then I think you'll love ABC Sport Daily.
They've actually got statistics to show that he literally does try and hit most of his deliveries for 4 or 6. So it's the kind of hitting that feels very next generation.
ABC Sport Daily. Get it on the Listen app.
The 2024 Sir Doug Nicholls round.
Now a chance for Sarong. Just pulls the kick nicely into the middle. Oh, big collision! I think it was Frederick going back with the flight, and he was taken out. It was an accident. All in the contest. Play continues. Henry's got 4 to the ball. 55 out for Euroke. He goes inside 50. H. No mark taken. Now a chance still inside that right forward pocket. Owens finds a bit of space on the left. Does it have the carry? Yes.
From the stoppage, a chance for Paddy Dow. The Saints forward towards the goal mouth. It spills down the way of Patton, who gets it back to Dow. End over end towards goal. What a finish. Paddy well, all right.
Tom Emmett has come on, so repeating the news, Michael Frederick has failed his concussion test, and Tom Emmett gets a chance for his 12th game.
Walker laterally to Ryan, who gets to right half forward. He can load up from here. Instead, unselfishly, goes into the pocket. The mark is taken about 35 out from goal by Johnson. He'll line up for Wallylup's first goal of the evening. Tight angle here for Matthew Johnson. He's hit it pretty well. In fact, he liked it as soon as it hit his boot. The first of the night for Wallylup. It's taken 24 minutes in the opening term.
From around 40 metres out to put Freo in front. Sharp comes in, and that's a beautiful finish. The Dockers were slow out of the blocks, but they kicked the last 2 goals to take the lead. Gets his opportunity here at the Fremantle Dockers. Patrick Boss is on the board here. And Wallylup continue with their purple patch, taking back control and stretching their advantage. They lead by 8 points.
The 2024 Sir Doug Nicholls round.
On your radio.
Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
The 9th edition of Sir Doug Nicholls round continuing under the roof of Docklands for Saturday night footy. A third of all the AFL clubs have changed their name to the traditional owners' language across Indigenous round. So St Kilda are Euroke and the Fremantle Dockers are Wallylup. And the Dockers are able to finish with 3 goals in 5 minutes after the Saints kicked the opening 2 goals of the match. So the Dockers 3-2-20 to the Saints 2 straight 12. Matt Glitch and Andrew Mays calling the action. And Cohen is down on the boundary. The thoughts of our Australian Football Hall of Fame members, Nathan Burke and Brent Harvey.
Well, I thought that was a contrast quarter by the Saints started so well. At one stage, 11-2 inside 50s, Berkey, but and 2 goals up as well. But I thought they should have taken their chances. We see Paddy Dow kick an unbelievable dribbler goal for his first goal for the football club, but they didn't take their chances, and then Fremantle found their mojo. They were kicking the ball. Their forward entries weren't fantastic in the first half of that quarter, and then all of a sudden, in the space of 6 minutes, 3 of their good players, better players, got the football, delivered inside 50, found a target, 3 goals straight. So St Kilda be really disappointed because they had, I think you called it, 33 to 67% in forward half. So they would be really disappointed. They didn't hit the scoreboard and put scoreboard pressure on the Dockers and let them back in that second half of that first quarter.
Yeah, just very wasteful by the Saints, 15-11 inside 50s, but I can't think of one that was really directed to the advantage of one of the forwards. And now we can blame some of the kickers. Henry, he hurried his one inside 50. Max King hurried his one, kicked it out on the full. Steele hurried his one inside 50. We can blame them. We can also blame the forwards for not being able to get separation from their opponents and actually demand the ball to come to them in really good spots. And sometimes when the guys outside 50 aren't delivering the ball well, it's not always their fault, because if you do get a forward sort of coming at you in a really demanding way, they almost demand you to kick the ball to a really good spot. But the Saints don't do that.
Berkey, it's an easier kick too, so I'm going to try to explain this. If you're running across the ground laterally, the kick has to be placed 6, 7, 8 metres out in front, and it's got to be perfect. If you miss that by a metre, it gives the opposition defender a huge chance to come in and spoil the ball. If you're leading directly at the kicker, you can miss 3 metres either side, and the forward does the work. He just breaks off the line and goes and gets it. So what you're saying is go reset back towards goal, but tick back up at the ball carrier, and it becomes an easy kick for the ball carrier. And I think you're alluding to, I think you called it, King was the one that went lateral at that stage. So you're spot on. It's actually a really, really good point.
Brent Harvey and Nathan Burke, your experts on ABC Sport. Ian Cohen on the boundary.
Yeah, during that quarter-time break, Michael Frederick came back out of the rooms. Obviously a forlorn figure. He's got the tracksuit pants on. He's sitting in the back row. And as the Fremantle bench players came off, they did high-five him. Obviously, they asked about his welfare. He seems okay in himself, but did fail that concussion test. For Jimmy Webster, well, it looks like he's going to be back in the news because that will be closely scrutinised, and he still looks a little bit sore after that collision as well.
Yeah, there's not much more he could do, though. He had eyes for the football the whole time. the Frederick was coming back with the flight of the ball, so he had to make some sort of contact.
And he made contact with the ball.
Absolutely he did.
Too.
The Dockers by 8 points as we get the second quarter underway, and Jackson bursting out of the middle of the ground. Half pass to Sikowski, who fires it out to Sharp at right half forward. Kicks the Dockers deep into attack. The kick was on the head of Tracy. It spoiled away from him. Wanganeen Miller gets the hand pass away to Battle. The Saints out of defence, up towards Henry. Walker got a spoil onto it for the Dockers. Hand pass to Aish. Shovels it backwards to Draper. Back to Walker, giving up ground. He's centre wing now as he turns inboard. And Nat 5 has it. Trying to find an avenue for Wally up as he swings onto his right-hand side. And kicks out to Luke Ryan, who marks it right half back.
Ryan short to Draper. Draper back to Ryan. Top of his defensive 50 here for Wally Lupp.
Both teams were looking at 45 back through the middle. They really want to take it, but they're really hesitant to make that mistake at the minute.
So Ryan goes to half forward. Jackson over the top, flew, couldn't complete the mark. Now a chance at ground level for Bonner. Hand pass over the top to Windhager. It bounced in front of him, made it a difficult one to pick up. He couldn't quite do so. Marshall there, though. He's taken in a tackle. Ball spills free. Now Patton's knocked out of the way. Dow underneath, trying to farm it out, and he's taken as well. Then turns tackler himself. We'll have a stoppage. Ford of centre wing.
Have you seen that battle, Perky? Windhager on Sarong. Sarong's had the 8, but it hasn't had a really big impact on the game, has he?
No, Windhager had 7 in the first. Rowan Marshall's one. He had 12 possessions in that first quarter.
Mason Wood kicks the Saints up towards half forward. Charging out Owens, tries to keep it alive, but his hand pass straight to Ryan of the Dockers. Hand passes inboard to Young, trying to get it to Fife over the hand of Steele. Links up with Aish, into the middle of the ground for Jackson, trying to knock it on to Clark. Marshall gets in there for the Saints. Hand pass missed the target, but enough time to gather as Bonner kicks across the lateral side out onto the wing, and Brad Hill takes them up. Looks up, looks at O'Meara, thinks I've got you. Kicks up towards Patton at half forward. Ryan in from the side. Takes the mark for the Dockers at left half back. Freo by 8 points.
He reads the ball unbelievably well. He doesn't really even play on anyone. He just goes one kick behind the ball, watches the player's eyes and goes exactly where he's going to kick it.
Long kick just over the wing. Marshall floats in from the side. Battle almost could have been paid the mark there. Hand pass off to Henry, and Henry turns it over straight back to that man again, Ryan. Stationed at half back, and every Saint supporter in the crowd venting their frustration.
Not hard to intercept it when they kick it straight to you.
Kick out wider still. Switkowski flares it out wide to Sharp, and then further afield by foot to the wing. Now Clark has it. Enjoying a good season so far. Pokes an awkward little pass inboard. It bounced in front of Sarong, who then had to get the hand pass from his hands and knees. Back to Clark. Clark flared it out wide. Missed Fife with the handball. We'll have a ball in forward of centre wing here for the Dockers. They lead by 8 points, 3 minutes played, second term.
He just wanted the ball more, Sarong. He went to ground, which we say keep your feet, but he had to go to ground. He just wanted the ball. He's more hungry than the opposition just then.
Toss back in, Marshall and Jackson. It's knocked down to the front. Chance of the Saints through Steele. Hand pass to Wood. Around the body, kicks up to Caminiti. Dropped the chest mark. Sliding in, it's gathered by Sharp, and he's tackled over the boundary line. And a throw in on the outer side.
On the full.
Was on the full, so a free kick will go the Saints' way, and Caminiti didn't even realise it was his. He'll come back and take it between wing and half forward. Wally leading by 8 points as Caminiti kicks the Saints up to the 50. Max King flies in the back and with his fingertips just couldn't hang on at the last moment. Owens, was he taken high by Clark? No, and a ball up 45 metres out from the Saints' goal.
Oh, he did everything but just hold on at the last moment there, Max King. Good fly. Jackson in the ruck just took it out and gave it to Draper. Inboard by hand to Clark, who's forced to kick right up the middle. Risky, with mark taken by Wilkie and a one-on-one there.
He's an expert at just nudging from behind but not giving away a free kick.
Wilkie short to Marshall. He's had a lot of the ball this evening. Marshall short, still inside the centre square. Now Bonner. Bonner ushers his Saints to come towards him. One of them was Sinclair, who presented. Turns immediately. King out the back, didn't quite make it. Everyone fell down in the pack. Front and centre, though, was Hill. Squares it up, looking for a marking option, and it's Jackson of the Dockers floating in from the side and taking a lovely intercepting defensive mark.
We've taken that flare away from the game. I would have loved to see Hill just put that under his arm and have a shot from the boundary. He's very capable.
Oh, short to Draper on the bounce. He's worked off it. Caminiti tries to kick across his body. He kicks right across the face of goal, out of bounds on the full. And what could have been? for the Saints. It's Walyup who lead by 8 points. 5 minutes gone, second quarter on ABC Sport. On the SMS, 0437 774 774. Fran wants us to keep you across the Brisbane-Richmond game.
Not if you back for Richmond, Fran.
Brisbane 8-4-52 to the Tigers 5 behinds. Just the start of the second quarter there.
Fran Barracks for Brisbane. We'll keep you updated. But
I think Fran Barracks for Collingwood.
Oh.
The Dockers, a chance to try and work it up to the wing. Jackson can't take the mark. Fife trying to knock it on. Now becomes the tackler on Dougal Howard. Kept the ball in play. He did well. Gets the hand pass away to Voss. He turns it over though. Sinclair. Hand pass quickly through traffic to Bonner. To Marshall. Back to Bonner. Hand pass forward. Missed the target and Ryan read it well for the Dockers. Into the middle of the ground. Tracy takes the mark. Hand pass to Sokowski. Through half forward. Looks up for Jai Amos and he takes the mark. They make the Saints pay on the turnover there.
Ryan's not only intercepting marks, he's intercepting handballs. But you're right, Berkey. You're right, Berkey. It's when you handball straight to the opposition or kick straight to the opposition, you don't even have to intercept it. They're just giving him the ball at the minute.
Ryan Bonner would want that one back. Luke Ryan is a leading mark in the AFL, but when you're picking off hand passes, he is reading the ball so well. And a chance for Jai Amos to continue the run for the Dockers. The last 3 goals in the match. Out to the right, kicking from around 40 metres out. Amos with a slow approach. He comes in, loses a lot of momentum and drags it left.
Yeah,
Amos came to a complete stop.
I'm not a fan of his goal kicking. I like him as a player. I think he does a lot right, but I think he's got to work on it.
Risky kick coming back in as well. The Dockers get the numbers to the fall of the ball. Out to Banfield. The left footer snaps and hits the wrong side of the footy. It's missed everything out of bounds on the full. Might be one of those nights, gentlemen. It's not the highest quality footy you'll ever see.
I think you're going to be right.
Yeah, forward craft is not high at the moment.
So Hill receives the kick from Bonner, who goes back to Bonner. There, Bradley Hill across the face of goal.
It's a team that are playing 2 very similar styles, isn't it? They're both zoning off and just letting opposition take uncontested marks, and it's a very slow, methodical game style by both teams.
Sinclair gave it to Howard. He kicks up towards the wing, and we'll see the mark or a free kick there to Max King, and the umpire might have paid the mark because Wood wanted to take the advantage, couldn't do so. He'll have to come back to the wing. 3-3-21 Walyup. And 2 straight 12 for Euroke. We've played 7 minutes, second term. And the short pass is good there by King. He finds his target, Windhager, who can turn around and load up. He gets to about 60 from goal. He's just going to put this low and flat, top of the square, over the top Jackson. Not a big spoil. Philippou front and centre. And then jagging it from nowhere. Marshall misses from the top of the square. Probably had a little bit more space than he thought there on that occasion. First blemish of the night for the Saints. 2-1-13, 3-3-21. They trail by 8 points. They played second term.
Marshall's had 17 possessions. He's running around like a ruck rover, not a ruckman. 17, and we've still got a long 8 minutes to go.
Yeah, four clearances and 2 inside 50s as Clark kicks long into the middle of the ground. But it's gathered by Wilkie. Kicks the Saints up towards half forward. Hill inside 50. Big fly. Mitch Owens. He thought it was touched. He played on. And Luke Ryan's making that case. Now we have the set shot. Just slightly right of centre, only about 20 metres out from goal.
Well, it must have been touched because there's about 6 Fremantle players. 3 of them went and tackled him. The rest put their hands up saying it was touched off the boot.
I don't know how they knew. The ball travelled a good 40 metres.
Yeah. Well, they all seemed to do it very instinctively, didn't they?
Mitch Owens kicked the opening goal of the match for the Saints. They're now looking for their first goal since the 14-minute mark of the opening term. A much-needed steadier. Owens starts his approach, comes in and steers it straight through the middle. Ends a run of 3 consecutive goals for Walyup to pull the margin back to 2 points Fremantle's way. 3-3-21 to the Saints 3-1-19. 9 minutes gone, second quarter on ABC Sport.
Well, that's one where it did come off Berkey. They kicked it long and they end up getting a one-on-one. Was it lucky? Was it touched? Who knows? But there's no score review for the ball off the boot. So they got, I wouldn't say lucky because it was a great contested mark by Owens there, and he's a good finisher for his second.
Yeah, I'd love to take a snapshot of the forward line as that ball was leaving the boot of the kicker. There was 5 Saints players just stand there hailing a cab with a hand in the air and wanting it long. It was just that it favoured Mitch Owens, and he took a really good contested mark, but at least one of the 5 down there have to provide a leading option.
Back in the middle, Marshall gets a clearance, and it's a barrel as well, all the way to full forward. Big punch from Draper. Getting to work at ground level was Collard. Might have been held. Owens overran the footy, although he's pushed off it. Then might have been pushed in the back. Umpire said, I'll have it. And it'll be a ball up right on the top of attacking 50 for the Saints.
Noah Bolter's given the Tigers their first goal of the match. Brisbane have kicked 10 though.
Free kick here from the contest, and it's going the way of Paddy Dow. So kicked a memorable first goal for the Saints in the opening term. Puts it to the top of the square, and no mark taken in front there by Chapman, and then it's in the back, is it?
Yeah, free kick to the Saints.
So it's going to be Henry with the free kick, who gets off the bottom of that pack, and he'll line up 20 metres out directly in front.
What I want to see from the Saints is, even that kick in there from Dow, his first option was to just go bang and kick it at the top of the square. Wait for all the leads to go, and when the umpire says play on and you've got nothing else, we'll then kick it at the top of the square. But when it's your first option, you take away all the leading opportunities.
So Liam Henry, debuted for the Dockers in 2020, comes in 20 out directly in front and kicks one for the Saints. And the lead is back with Europe. Steady in second term here for St Kilda. Score 4-1-25, 4-point advantage over the Dockers, 3-3-21. We've now played 11 minutes in this second term.
You're right, Berg, and it's sort of like the chicken and the egg, isn't it? If you just keep bombing to the top of the goal square, the players go, well, I'm not going to hit up because I'm not going to get the footy and I need to get back and be front and centre. So everyone stops leading, it becomes really stagnant. And the kick before that goal, where all the St Kilda players just had their hand up saying, kick at the top of the square, kick at the top of the square, you know where it's going at every single time. Someone's got to sacrifice themselves, and usually it's the sacrificial act that you can get hit up on.
I mean, they're going to kick a winning score relying on getting free kicks at the top of the goal square all night.
Second lead change of the match as Tracy's in the ruck up against Caminiti. It comes down the way of Fife, tackled and dispossessed. A chance for Steele. Kicks a long searching kick up towards Max King. And he takes the mark and lets Alex Pearce know about it. A push of the footy to his chest.
What I like about Max King then was he did all his work before the ball got there. He was actually physical with Pearce. He engaged him before the ball came, pushed him out of the way, used his strength, and in the end took an uncontested mark. Too often he allows the defender to dictate that, so it's a good sign.
3 marks, 4 disposals for Max King. He spent the week in the headlines looking for more as the St Kilda spearhead comes in, hangs it out to the left, and it won't come back. A minor score. They lead by 5 points at the 13-minute mark of the second quarter on ABC Sport.
Applauded there by Alex Pearce on the mark. Just let him know that he missed it as well. So nice little byplay between those two. Ryan with the kick in. He goes as far as he can. Rising high, Caminiti couldn't bring down the mark and battles for it at ground level as well. It's held. So even though the umpire's going to say he dragged it in, he's a bit unlucky because he lost his feet in the marking contest. The ball sort of jarred underneath him. Not much he could have done there. Johnson with the free kick for the Dockers. Flares it out wide to O'Meara. Marks a metre inside the boundary. Left half back here. Spins the ball in his hands, waiting for an option to present. None did. The Dockers have got numbers down the line here, though. Tracy wandered in, almost took that uncontested, then kicks a low ball inside 50. What about that for delivery? Silver service to Voss, who takes it low down on his chest. 35 out, slight angle to the left.
Surprise, surprise, Berkey. Someone hit up at the ball, you drop your eyes and you hit him on the chest.
That was Plugger-esque.
That was very nice, wasn't it? It was actually
Dunstall, lead, chest mark, goal.
It's actually a beautiful kick.
Well, let's see if he can deliver. He's already got one this evening, Patrick Voss. And he's kicked that almost out of bounds on the full. It just sneaks in from behind. Wasn't right off the boot.
The lead might have been Dunstall and Plugger-esque, but
it was the kick line.
Certainly wasn't.
4-2-26 to Saints.
Give us someone, Berkey. Who was the kick like? Who was it?
Me.
3-4-22, the Dockers.
Riley Bonner brings the Saints back into play, short to Dow. Inside the defensive 50. His first game in his new colours, up towards Caminiti. Jackson worked him underneath, couldn't complete the mark. Off the hands of Filippo. Driving in Winhager. Half pass forward only as far as Fife. Knocks the Dockers in the direction of O'Meara. Gets it to Jackson, trying to stand up in the tackle. Eventually got it clear. Winhager's kick is smothered. The ricochet's under Fife and he's tackled. And the umpire will ball it up. Saints 4-2-26 and the Dockers 3-4-22. Meanwhile, the Gabba, it's Brisbane 10-5-65, leading the Tigers 1-6-12. There is an ABC call available on the ABC Listen app. Just look on the AFL Extra button. Brayshaw kicks up towards Amos at half forward. Can't take the mark in a wrestle with Howard. Spills out Wanganeen. Miller in two minds. His hand pass won't get to Webster. Carving in there is Walters. Great tackle. Webster made up a couple of metres and laid a goal-saving tackle as he just got the back of Walters' jumper.
Well, Wanganeen Malera owes him one then. Covered up for his mistake really well.
Webster out wide to Filippo. It's good kick as well.
Michael Walters yet to touch the football. Oh, he's clearly just touched it because he dropped the ball, but no disposals to date.
Up towards half forward, no mark taken. Chance for Aish. Loops the handball back inboard. Good attacking one, 2 to Fife. Off to Walker and now Switkowski. Back to Walker, streaming through the middle. He's got a couple of players open inside 50. Goes longer instead and the mark is taken by Amos. 20 out, slight angle to the left. And the Dockers hunting the lead.
Maisie, so let's talk about his kicking routine here. So it's not going to be a problem from there because he's 15 metres out from goal. But as you get further out, you need momentum. You need momentum to kick the ball further. So when he's having shots from 45 and 50, he's really going to struggle. He's actually a lovely kick, but I'm not a massive fan of the nearly coming to a complete stop.
So when he comes at walking pace and then halts and leans back on it a little bit there and just snuck it in. Oh no, it's actually missed. So one behind. We called that one pretty early there, Boomer. 4-2-26, the Saints. 3-5-23, the Dockers. We've played 17 minutes second term.
So two behinds for Jai Amos tonight.
Not good enough from the key forward to miss from there. All the hard work. It's not going to be a high-scoring game. I think you called it, Maisie. Clinch at the start, 1 to 7. He probably wins this game. You've just gone behind the other team, kicked a couple of goals. You get an easy shot, 15 metres out. You can't afford to miss those. Under a roof, no wind.
Webster's kick at half-back was smothered by Switkowski. It's gathered by Sarong from the throw-in. Hand pass to Sharp, kicks inside 50. Voss flies, can't hang on to it. Switkowski, another great tackle. Locks the ball in the right forward pocket. Webster slow to rise. Involved in a big collision in the first quarter with Michael Frederick. Frederick subbed out of the game. And Tommy Emmett coming in. Zach Jones a sub for the Saints tonight. As from the stoppage, there's no clearance. And once more, Banfield lays the tackle. Sinclair this time brought down for the Saints.
Marshall palms it down, looking for Dow, who picked it up, just forced it on the boot, gained a couple of metres, and then Patton was onto it. He turned tackler immediately and holds things up. Gaining about 20 metres there, the Saints, outside of their defensive 50 from stoppage to stoppage.
The other thing, Berkey, there too, it's deflating for the rest of the players. You work so hard to get the ball from the opposition. You go and have an easy shot from 15 out, you miss it. Super deflating.
Wood gets the handball away. Windhager missed it though. Now Sarong squeezes a bouncing ball inside attacking 50. Howard out to meet it. Bounced off his chest. Young was clean over to Johnson. Then to Amos. Surely he can't miss from here and he snaps it through from 15 out. Making up for the miss moments earlier. And the lead back with the Dockers. 4-5-29. They lead the Saints 4-2-26. Played 19 minutes, second term Saturday night footy on ABC Sport.
Well, he had no choice then. He had to go fast, didn't he?
Yeah.
He couldn't slow down.
Repeat entries there for probably the first time this quarter for Fremantle. Got a ball up on the wing and got the ball back in again. And you do that. Sometimes just a dirty ball inside 50, which is what it was. Dougal Howard was committed, couldn't quite get the ball, rolling ball, and made something out of nothing. Got the ball over there, and you see Ross Lyon on the television. He's a bit bemused by that one. Not happy, but well done. Good reward for effort, finally, from the Dockers, who should have a few more goals on the board than what they've got.
The voice of Nathan Burke with you on ABC Sport. Jackson wins down the tap against Marshall. Sarong trying to slide in, can't knock it out. Marshall gets down and dirty. Ball spills out eventually to Sarong. Hand pass to Fife. Gets the hand pass away to Clark, who's getting involved with his dash across half-back. Up towards Walters and Emmett. Emmett almost juggled the mark. Got rid of Battle, just couldn't complete it. They scrap at ground level. Walters with just the one disposal, trying to knock it out. And the umpire circles and will ball it up. In the long sleeves. Wally up in the white design, which was created by Michael Johnson with some collaboration as well. Spills out the way of Young. His hand pass is picked off by Battle. Hand pass looking for Henry. Getting there first is O'Meara, the fend off. Aish now under pressure. Henry put the tackle on. Back to O'Meara. Two Saints bring him down. Out holding the ball is Marshall with good support to the captain, Jack Steele, who wins it at right half back.
Gave it to Hill, who was running shotgun. The kick is an awkward one. Patton up to take the mark. Couldn't do so. Caminiti at ground level. Just gets the ball away. Back to Patton. Scoots the ball inside 50. Oh, instead he's lined them up. Beautiful finish. It's his third. Little bit of class from Mitch Owens. And we've got another lead change. Saints back in front. 5-2-32 plays 4-5-29. Boomer Harvey and Nathan Burke on ABC Sport.
That goal comes on the back of pressure. So O'Meara tries to fend off twice. He gets pinned for the second one. They get the ball moving, get into Bradley Hill's hands. The ball goes inside forward 50. It was a beautiful finish by Owens, right foot to the right boundary, and slotted that through nicely. Berkey looked nice, didn't it?
A lovely finish. He's not known for his finishing, but that one was great. But what I loved about it was that there was a scramble just outside forward 50. He realised that the only exit that the Saints player had was to kick that ball into the pocket. So he was moving to that pocket before the ball was actually kicked out there. His defender was thinking, I don't know where it's going, and he was flat-footed. So as much as that was a lovely finish, it's probably a goal that came from him reading the ball faster than his opponent.
Mitch Owens, the only multiple goal scorer on the ground with 3, including 2 in this second quarter, as the Saints take back a 3-point advantage. Bounces recall back in the middle of the ground. Marshall wins down the tab against Jackson. Down, couldn't gather. Steele can. Hand pass to Winhager. The dash from Sinclair. He gets to half forward. Kicks to the lead of King. Oh, Patton dropped the mark. King's bad onto it. Tackled by Pearce. Tries to get out a hand pass. Sarong works it back to O'Meara. A clearing kick up towards Banfield. Can't take the mark. Wangan and Miller made the spoil. Down gathers for the Saints. Back to Miller. One way, then the other. Turns inboard. Chip kick finds Sinclair. Plays on his right-hand side and kicks inside 50. And Cooper Sharman marks hugging it to his chest. He's out to the right. He'll kick from just inside 50.
Beautiful play there by the Saints. Kept the ball alive, kept it moving up the ground. That's when you want to be a forward, when the ball's alive and going fast. You're breaking lines, you're giving the handball, you're giving the first option. Then you can lead. The player can drop his eyes.
They are a foot skill team, the Saints, and when it's all clicking, it looks good. Cooper Sharman trying to finish. Out to the right, he comes in and sets flight. It's left all the way on the wrong side of the left goalpost to minor score. Saints lead by 4 points as we nudge towards half-time. 23 minutes gone. Second quarter on ABC Sport. Meanwhile, the Gabba, it's the Lions 11-5-71, leading the Tigers 2-6-18. Here's Andrew Mays.
Ryan coming up for disposal number 15. Short kick to Clark. Left back pocket here for the Dockers. Sharp offers a lead short. Ignored. And he lays his boot into it as far as he can. Jackson over the top. Leapt high, couldn't bring down the mark. Webster for the Saints, off to Dow. Snaps around the corner, inside attacking 50. Aish, wonderful mark. Second grab while he was lying on the ground. Squares things up by foot. And Ryan again, a steadying influence in the back line. Looking for a way out. Not much presenting short. He's forced to go a little longer to a one-on-one. Wilson over the top. Made the spoil. Kept it in as well. And then tried to kick underneath the hands of Clark. Good smother coming across. Forces the boundary throw in. Right forward pocket here for the Saints. They lead by 4.
The Saints almost went to a 1v1. Bit of a defence there rather than their zone. And even though Ryan had the ball right in the central corridor, still couldn't find a free target.
Tim and Applecross poses the question about Wally missing those close shots from in front. Carlton, similar last night in his eyes, at Harry Mackay and losing the momentum. H kicks up towards half-back for the Dockers. Walters becomes the tackler, and the footy is locked under he and Wanganeen Millero.
We saw the Bulldogs this afternoon kick something like 6 goals, 22 for the game.
Dogs back on the winners list by 27 points. Collingwood also winning a thriller over the Crows by 4 points. Inside 50 for the Saints. Caminiti with a hand pass. Patton hard against the boundary. Tries to centre it to Winhagen. Through the hands of Young. In comes Johnson, making his physical presence known. Hand pass to Clark to Fife. 30 metres out from the Dockers' defensive goal. Miss Sarong sliding in. It's gathered by King. His hand pass put his teammate under enormous pressure. Caleb Sarong's doing the umpiring as well. He's gesturing for holding the ball as Jack Sinclair gets up. Tommy Emmett laid the tackle. Not rewarded.
The sense going, well, remember when that was a rule? Fife sharks it. Tackled. Ball spills free. Off to Sinclair. His kick inside 50 is smothered. Didn't even make it. Now to Walters. Quick hands. Off to Brayshaw. It kicks long. Now the advantage here is for Wilkie. Gets the spoil in at ground level. Amos sockers and misses. Oh, he had it all open up for him at ground level. Just had to put it between the big sticks. Couldn't do so. One behind. 5-3-33 the Saints. Full 6-30 the Dockers.
So 1-3 for Jai Amos. That wasn't a set shot though. It was Wilson at half-back. Hand pass chopped off by Chapman. He's tackled by Collard. And the umpire will ball it up in front of the two benches. Lance Collard, the 19-year-old, getting his opportunity. The first-year Saint from WA. Picked 28 in 2023. Similar ages with three on both sides players over the age of 30. An average age for the Dockers of around 24 years of age. The Saints is just younger than that at 23. Both sides hoping to fight for their spot towards the top of the 8. As it's Brayshaw who gets the hand pass out. Johnson tackled by Winhager, a show of strength. And the umpire says he was just taken over the boundary line as Filippo came in.
That's where the other one in the middle who could see that needs to blow his whistle.
Tossed up. Marshall down to Wilson, who snaps out of congestion, knocked forward by Patton towards the boundary line. We'll have a ball in. Surely not a sufficient attempt, no.
You never know these days.
No, you don't.
I've seen some bizarre ones.
Ben Patton, I think this is probably the first time ever he's played in the forward line for the Saints. Normally patrols the back pocket or the wing at the most, but playing in the forward line tonight.
Tossed in, Jackson won it down, then took it himself. Long hand pass forward to Walters, off to Young, just has to hit the target. It's not his best kick inside 50, but the mark is taken uncontested by Banfield after Webster slipped over.
I can see Boomer next to me saying, gesturing, somebody come at the footy, but it turned out all right, mainly because Jimmy Webster fell over. If he hadn't have fallen over, wouldn't have been the greatest of kick. But yeah, he had 3 Dockers players all running backwards into space.
10 goals so far for Bailey Banfield this season. Hasn't hit the scoreboard tonight. In he comes, 40 out, directly in front and doesn't miss. Another lead change this evening. It's now 3 points in favour of the Dockers. 5-6-36, leading the Saints 5-3-33. 28 played in the second term. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport.
That's when Fremantle look at their sharpest, because they are a quick ball movement team when they want, with Sarong and these type of guys going through the middle. That forward handball that we've seen so often, that's probably Collingwood made their own last year, that forward handball. Fremantle just got one of them there and put someone in a bit of time and bit of space. When you're kicking the ball with no pressure on you like Hayden Young just did then, it's so much easier than somebody just scragging at you. So well done to the Dockers. Fast play results in a goal.
AFL Games record holder Brent Harvey with you on ABC Sport. 5th lead change of the match. 4th in this second quarter. Marshall wins down the tap for the Saints, but it's Jackson who does the roving. Hand pass to Brayshaw. Away to Young. Kicks Wally up inside 50. Bouncing ball for Amos. And battle gathers as Tracy gathers him. And the siren sounds for half-time. The Dockers by 3 points at half-time, having led by 8 at quarter-time. The Saints led for large portions of that second quarter. And it's Fremantle 5-6-36, leading St Kilda 5-3-33. The goal kickers for Euro 3 goals to Mitch Owens, individuals to Dow and Henry. While for the Dockers, their goals have come through Johnson, Banfield, Voss and Sharp. Half-time here at Docklands, and it's Wyalup who lead by 3 points. The thoughts of Nathan Burke and Brent Harvey with you on ABC Sport.
There wasn't much going on in that quarter, Berkey. I know there was 5 goals kicked like the first, but I'm just not seeing enough. Like, I love that last play that we just called then. Fremantle getting some mojo, some quick ball movement, but I'm not seeing enough of it. I'm seeing glimpses of it. St Kilda are doing it a little bit here, a little bit there. Fremantle are doing exactly the same. I'd love to see one of the teams. What do we have? We've had 10 goals kicked for the entire first half. It's just been very stagnant. A lot of uncontested marks, ball going inside 50 to the top of the goal square, that hot spot, so to speak, and relying on a little bit of luck to go your way. And then, of course, we see a miss from the top of the goal square, 15 metres out. Now the opportunities that you're talking about, Berkey, in a low-scoring game, they're the ones that you do have to nail.
And the ebb and flow of who's pressuring the most is really interesting. Whoever gets that real sort of manic pressure for a couple of minutes has generally been the ones owning field position, getting the ball forward really, really quickly. And when they sort of take their foot off the pedal a little bit, it allows the other team to go the other way. I reckon right at the end, the last 3-4 minutes, it was Fremantle who were the best at that pressure and congested area, whereas the 5 minutes before that, it was the Saints. And they had probably the better run of play. So whilst we're both sides, 33 to 36 is not high scoring, and the coaches might be tempted to talk about, okay, how can we get more scoring? I still think it's the team who shows the better defence and the better sort of manic defence to turn the ball over in good parts of the ground, which is what you're going to need to do to score, because neither team are great at scoring. So if you can turn the ball over in dangerous spots, well, then that will help you score even if you're not very good at it. So which team can really bring that when the ball's on the ground, get extra numbers there, attack the man with the footy with a real vigour, spill the ball, got numbers around the footy, and away you go. That will be the team, I think, that actually wins this game. Both teams have had patches of doing that, but whoever can do it for the longest will come out on top, because I don't think either forward line are good enough to grab this game by the scruff of the neck and take hold of it and suddenly they're 15 goals and win by 10. That won't happen. So who can defend the best, turn the ball over in dangerous spots and have those repeat entries inside 50 and use the ball wisely when they do it, I think that'll be the team that wins.
Berkey, the two big men, Marshall and Jackson. Jackson's had 16 touches, 20 hit-outs. Marshall's had 19 touches, 18 hit-outs. They've both been fantastic for their teams.
Playing the traditional ruck, which used to be, hey, we'll shake hands in the middle.
Yep.
And I'll meet you when the umpire's got the footy, and then we'll just go our separate ways. And that's the way they used to play the ruck, and looks like they're bringing it back in vogue. But what these two are both doing is they're both very good at following up the ground ball and getting involved in general play. That's their go, rather than being the traditional, just tap it and sit behind the play. They get involved in general play. So both doing well for their respective teams.
The one thing that St Kilda need to do is make Ryan defend. He's picking off, he's sitting back, he's not paying his opponent no respect, because he knows that 9 times out of 10 the ball's going straight over their head and going to hit the hot spot. So St Kilda can come out, drop their eyes on Pearce, drop their eyes on Ryan, make him actually defend. They'll have to come up the ground, then they can hit the top of the square, and them two boys won't be there. Hopefully they're trailing their St Kilda opponents.
I think Ben Patton was trying to do a defensive job on Jordan Clark. It's not going all that well. 17 disposals. He's got a 93% kicking efficiency, including 539 metres gained alongside.
Yeah, I was trying to watch and say he's been patting down there to be that defensive role, but he wasn't going near him. So if he wasn't doing a great job.
And Luke Ryan with his 16 disposals, as we always see, 8 marks for the match, so very much the general across half-back. While Ryan Marshall's had 19 disposals, including 4 clearances, with Jack Steele with 6 clearances from his 9 disposals. We've got the close one, though. 5 goals apiece at half-time. An arm wrestle in which we've seen 5 lead changes, 4 of which happened in that second quarter. And it's Wyalup who lead by 3 points, 5-6-36 to Europe 5-3-33. Both these sides reverting back to their traditional names for Sir Doug Nicholls round. Meanwhile, at the Gabba, well, a one-sided affair there with the Brisbane Lions putting on a show against the Tigers, and it was a 65-point lead a few moments ago, and it's now 65 at half-time. So 13-5-83 to the Tigers, 2-6-18, with Lohman with 3 goals for the Lions, Charlie Cameron with 2 goals, and McInerney with 2 for the Lions. Half-time at Docklands, it's Saturday night footy. The Dockers by 3 points. Let's get the latest from the ABC newsroom.
Hello, this is ABC News with David Rowlands. Business groups say the annual pay increase for Australia's lowest paid workers shouldn't be too high because of the cost of living relief announced in the federal budget. The Fair Work Commission conducts the annual wage review each year and asks governments, employers and unions to make submissions. In their revised submissions, large business groups argue that energy bill relief and additional rental assistance that have been included in the budget need to be factored in when the panel makes its final decision. However, Treasurer Jim Chalmers says cost of living relief is not meant to replace an increase in wages.
I say to the business groups making these points, Australians are doing it tough. The Commonwealth Government is doing its bit. We need business to do its bit as well. We want to see fair and decent wages for Australian workers on top of cost of living relief, not instead of it.
A federal minister has condemned the actions of a group of protesters outside this weekend's Victorian State Labor Conference in Melbourne. Protesters representing causes including support for Palestine and the union movement arrived at the Moonee Valley Racecourse as Labor figures gathered for the annual 2-day event. Their protest delayed key speeches from Prime Minister Anthony Albanese and the Victorian Premier Jacinta Allan. Minister for Government Services Bill Shorten says the action of the protesters contradicts their cause.
The idea that you would be violent and aggressive in the name of peace is a contradiction. It's like burning books for literacy. You don't do your own cause any good, storming through where we were minding the kids. I think everyday Australians will look at those antics and say, whatever you're selling, we don't want to buy.
Hundreds of French police reinforcements have arrived in New Caledonia amid rioting that's left 5 people dead. Trouble erupted this week after politicians in Paris voted to change electoral rolls in order to allow more French residents to vote in the Pacific Territory. Hundreds of people have been injured in the unrest and about 200 arrested. And the French government says it will push for harsh penalties for rioters and looters. One of New Caledonia's Indigenous pro-independence parties is urging the government to withdraw the legislation. The man who assaulted the husband of former US House of Representatives Speaker Nancy Pelosi in 2022 is expected to appeal against a 30-year prison sentence. The court was told that David DePape, who broke into their home and fractured Paul Pelosi's skull with a hammer, was motivated by right-wing conspiracy theories. After the sentencing, US Federal Attorney Abraham Simmons read a statement on behalf of prosecutors.
Today's sentence reflects David DePape's lack of remorse and contrition for violently assaulting Mr. Pelosi. The court's sentence will ensure that DePape will not be able to use violence to pollute the political process.
German police have arrested 8 climate activists after they breached the perimeter of Munich airport and glued themselves to a runway. The action led to the cancellation of dozens of flights on a busy holiday weekend. Climate group Last Generation, which has carried out similar protests in the past, has claimed responsibility for the action. Scientists say the Earth could shortly witness a return of the recent spectacular solar storms. More on this story from the BBC's Georgina Rennard.
This sunspot is 15 times as wide as Earth. Since hurling out 5 storms of plasma and magnetic field last weekend, it has now rotated away from this planet. But when it comes back in around 14 days, it could create more aurora. Scientists say the sun is reaching a point in its roughly 11-year cycle called solar maximum. This creates more sunspots as its magnetic poles flip. The powerful storm last weekend disrupted satellites, disturbed GPS, caused some flights to reroute and put stress on the power grids.
Indonesian police want to extradite the father of NRL player Payne Haas from the Philippines to face drug charges. Gregor Johan Haas was arrested in the Philippines this week for allegedly smuggling methamphetamine. The 46-year-old Australian could face the death penalty in Indonesia. Football Australia has suspended 3 A-League players over an alleged betting scandal. Brooke Chandler reports.
Macarthur FC captain Ulysses Davila is one of 3 players from the A-League side who have been charged over the alleged abuse of yellow cards during games. They were granted police bail. Football Australia has handed the players no-fault interim suspensions. This means they are banned from playing on an interim basis without any finding of fault and pending the outcome of the criminal charges. Football Australia says the players have been suspended as a precautionary measure given the very serious nature of the allegations.
And in AFL, the Western Bulldogs have upset GWS 70-43. This is ABC News.
It's the most magical time of the year, right? Footy season. This season you can get your footy live and ad-free on the ABC Listen app. Unbelievable. AFL, NRL, men's, women's. Whatever you fix, we've got you covered. Every goal, try, mark and tackle. Called by ABC Sports expert commentary team.
A wonderful goal! Game, set, bingo!
100% pure footy, live and ad-free on the ABC Listen app.
The 2024 Sir Doug Nicholls round.
Mitch Owens kicked the opening goal of the match for the Saints. Now looking for their first goal since the 14-minute mark of the opening term. A much-needed steadier. Owens starts his approach, comes in and steers it straight through the middle.
So Liam Henry debuted for the Dockers in 2020, comes in 20 out, directly in front, and kicks one for the Saints. And the lead is back with Europe. Sarong squeezes it, bouncing ball inside, attacking 50. Howard out to meet it, bounced off his chest. Young was clean over to Johnson. Then to Amos. Surely he can't miss from here, and he snaps it through from 15 out. And the lead back with the Dockers. Just gets the ball away, back to Patton. Scoots the ball inside 50. Owen steadies, line them up. Beautiful finish, it's his third. Little bit of class from Mitch Owens. And we've got another lead change. 10 goals so far for Bailey Banfield this season. Hasn't hit the scoreboard tonight. In he comes, 40 out, directly in front and doesn't miss. Another lead change this evening.
The 2024 Sir Doug Nicholls round.
On your radio.
Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
Saturday night footy on ABC Sport. It's the Dockers who lead by 3 points over the Saints, 5-6-36 to St Kilda, 5-3-33. Matt Clinch and Andrew Mays calling the action, and Cohen's down on the boundary. Australian Football Hall of Fame royalty in the back row, Nathan Burke and Brent Harvey. Interestingly, in the last two times these two sides have clashed, it's been the third quarter where the sides have been able to get on top. St Kilda have won 4 of the last 6 against Fremantle. They were kicked 5 goals to 2 after half-time when they faced off last year in round 1 at Docklands. And then back in round 17 in 2022, Freo kicked 11 goals to 3 after the main break. So we did joke at the start of the match it might be first to 70 wins this match, but we're hoping that the floodgates might open a little bit more in the second half. Earlier today it was Collingwood who defeated the Crows by 4 points. A thrilling match, 12-6-78 to the Crows, 11-8-74. The big debate post-game has been, did Isaac Rankin run too far? He was penalised holding the ball. What did you think, Boomer and Berkey, as you watched it? You've got to have a sense of theatre, but it looks like on the television replays they've done the numbers and he did run over 20 metres.
Yeah, well, of course they're going to get it right, aren't they? Was it 20 metres? I don't reckon it was 20 metres. Oh, I reckon it was...
Just under, maybe.
Yeah, I reckon it was 16 or 17. 24.2.
Adam Jones back at the studio is curious. The clarity for all the Crows fans, I think they've been harshly done by over the last 12 to 18 months. But, yeah.
The thing is, it's right at the end of the game with a minute to go, too. Like, that's the big call. And it was a good game, though. Crows are going all right. They're all right. I like watching the Crows now with Saligo through there. Rankin coming up onto the ball a little bit more. I think they're starting to find their mojo. I actually like watching Adelaide Crows play.
The frustration was he did his hammy.
That's the thing, didn't he?
Who did?
Isaac Rankin right at the very end.
That I didn't know that.
In that.
I didn't see that part of it.
So 30 disposals and a goal for Isaac Rankin, but it looks like a hamstring injury, which unfortunately will mean he will miss. A good win for Collingwood as the good times continue to roll. Well, the Western Bulldogs, speaking of winning, they've made it 2 on the trot. So they moved to 5-5 with a 27-point win over GWS, 8-22-70 to GWS 6-7-43. That's after the Bulldogs kicked 5 behinds in the opening quarter to GWS's 2-1-13. So the Giants only kicked 4 goals after quarter time for the rest of the match. They've now lost 4 of their last 5 after they started the season so impressively under Adam Kingsley. So significant win, Boomer, for the Dogs on the road.
Yeah, it's a good win. They annoy me, Clinchy. They annoy me because I didn't pick them against Amy Tips. Every week I pick them. They don't win. As soon as I don't pick them, and I actually thought the Giants would bounce back today. And you just got to realise that, like, how important certain players are. Like Kelly going out of the team, one really good midfielder in each team. You take him out, and it changes the whole dynamic of the football team. And I think him going out, I know they lost the last, did you say 4 or 3?
Yeah,
They've lost
4 of the last 5.
4 of the last 5. But Kelly going out of that team, they'd lose not only 25 to 30 touches, but they're quality touches. He's one guy that can do what we're saying that players are not doing tonight, and that's kick the ball inside 50. So a huge out for the Giants.
And from their 6 goals, Toby Green kicked 3 and Jesse Hogan kicked 3. So their forwards are doing their bit. And half-time at the Gabba, a 65-point lead the Brisbane Lions way. 13-5-83 to the Tigers 2-6-18. So unfortunately, it's been a tough start for Adam Uze, but it feels like the Empire era at Richmond is over. And the injuries has meant they've had to rebuild. But Brisbane Lions are coming from a long way back. Unfortunately, that draw doesn't really help them with 3 wins, 5 losses and a draw. But in 13th position, if they can start to chalk up a few wins at home, maybe they could make a late charge. But
what's their next month look like?
Brisbane?
Yeah.
Their next month, they have Hawthorn next week, the bye, then the Bulldogs, St Kilda, Port Adelaide, Melbourne, Adelaide, West Coast.
Yeah, right. So, yeah, I still think Brisbane are a really good team. I know they didn't start the year well, and people can argue, and that's okay. But I think when they get their mojo and things are going right, that they're a very good football team. So they're in my 8.
They'd have to get on a run of sort of 4 or 5. So Hawthorn, Bulldogs, St Kilda, Port Adelaide, if they can win maybe, and they've got a good record against Melbourne. If they can win, so 3 or 4 of them, that would get them back into the equation.
You'd think when they play at home, I know again they've lost a couple at home this year, but you think when they play at home and they're going well that they're going to win.
In the NRL tonight, it is, of course, Magic Round, so it's all taking place in Queensland. North Queensland lead the Rabbitohs, 22 points to 12, 48 minutes gone there. Winners today for Cronulla over the Sydney Roosters, and the Newcastle Knights had a win over the Gold Coast Titans, 28 points to 24. We're watching a bit of the A-League men's final, Maisie, just before we came on air. We're sort of 0-0 through, about an hour? And then it all came to life.
Yeah, it did. A couple of goals late for either team. So 1-1 went to, in the 99th minute, actually, Wellington equalised. So went to extra time, and then the Victory getting the job done in extra time, 2-1. So they progressed to next week's grand final.
And they'll take on the winner of Sydney FC or the Central Coast Mariners. 52 minutes in there, and it's 0-0 in that match. The other massive sporting story which has taken place across the weekend has been in the golf, Maisie, which we found ourselves watching a lot last night. Just the world of Scotty Scheffler, and what a fascinating place he was. Arrested before his second round, detained, eventually made his way to the course, and then came out and shot 5 under it. Puts the rest of us to shame, doesn't it?
Yeah, he's on another planet at the moment, Scotty Scheffler. His run of form, it's bordering on Tiger-like. If he can secure victory over the next couple of days, he has had some sort of 2 months in golf.
So Xander Schauffele leads at 12 under. Colin Moriarty at 11 under. And the best of the Australians, just having a look, Lucas Herbert at 6 under. So not as good, unfortunately, for Cam Smith and for Adam Scott. Jason Day is actually at 4 under of the other Australians. But yes, third round taking place tonight, Australian time. On the SMS, 0437 774 774. Berkey Burt from St Barney says, will the Saints ever win another flag? Well, they probably might need to score a little bit more than they are at the moment.
Yeah, hang in there, Bert.
Clinton, you said the first team to 70 win. What happens if no one gets to 70?
Could be a draw.
You double the Saints score right now. It's only 66. They're not going to get there.
We might have a thriller boomer. That might be what
Let's
happens.
just hope. It hasn't been the most amazing game of football for season 2024, but let's hope it's a close one so we can be up and about right at the very end, Berkey.
It's going to rain goals in the second half.
Let's hope so.
Rowan Marshall with 19 disposals, Jordan Clark with 17, Luke Ryan with 16, and Luke Jackson as well with 16. Wally up lead by 3 points. Into the second half we go. Here's Andrew Mays.
Nice bounce by the umpire. Marshall gets the tap away. Dow, he might have clashed heads there with a teammate in Windhager. Quick clearance for the Dockers. Coming forward via Switkowski. Sarong, the underground handball. Well, it's set up for Walters. It didn't quite. He ran into a bit of traffic, then went to ground. Good tackle there by the Saints, and they lock things up 20 metres out, directly in front of their own goal line. It was Sarong bursting through at the last moment, taken to ground. Tossed up. Jackson looking to reach over the top. Wood gets the clearance, and luckily the dump kick lands on Henry's chest.
So work it out to Wilson, who marks it right half back. Hand pass over the top to Hill. Nice little sidestep. Hand pass to Wanganeen Miller. Can give it back to Wilson, running the wing. Over the top to Caminiti. They've got the left half forward. Back to Wilson. Around Johnson. Good tackle as the ball spilled out of play. The boundary umpire was blindsided for it. Caminiti gets it back, and the other one's toppled over. Hill's the centering kick. Looking for Henry down low. Couldn't gather the half volley. Sarong for the Dockers. Hand pass to Fife. Fends off Wilson. Just gets the hand pass away at the last moment to Chapman. Kicks up to Jai Amos. Can't juggle the mark. Battle for the Saints. Hand pass to Sinclair. Chips it into the middle of the ground, and Marshall marks.
Marshall, a little dicey one on the half volley to Howard, who did well to gather. He then had to dive on it, and he'll be pinged here for holding the ball. No, it popped out at the last moment. It was Fremantle's advantage anyway. Banfield onto his left, just over the head there of Walters, and then kicking off the ground to his own advantage as Wilkie turns defensively. Walters had a slip. He got it to Webster, and Webster chips inboard to Sinclair, and now to Howard.
That kick by Walters just got a hit. You just got to hit that.
Off to Wanganeen Miller. That's a better use of the footy. All the way up to the wing to Wilson, who'll give it to the running Hill, who just stopped, darted inside, and then kicked blindly. A long kick. Who's presenting? Caminiti. Nice little ride over the top. Might have winded himself on the way down, but that's a good grab.
Very good grab, isn't it?
Now, over Liam Henry. Fife had actually moved out of that contest looking for the crumb, but it never came by the sticky hands of Caminiti, who will line up from probably 50 metres, 45-degree angle to the left. So opening moments of this third term.
Paddy Dow just going to the bench with a blood rule. That's what's delayed play for a moment.
So that was from that head clash with Windhager at the very first bounce of this second half.
The other one to keep an eye on is Mateus Filippo. He had just the one disposal to half-time. He's dropped to the VFL last week, had 20 disposals and 9 tackles, but just the one touch for Mateus Filippo in the first half.
He's the man who replaces Paddy Dow and runs into the midfield. Caminiti, meanwhile, lines up. He'll kick from just inside 50, and it's off the instep through for one behind. Just sneaks it in the end. 5-4-34, plays 5-6-36, 3 played third term, Saturday night footy on ABC Sport.
What does your old mate Plugger Lockett think about today's goal kick in Berkey? Have you ever spoken, that's a serious question, have you ever spoken to him about how they go at the minute?
No, I haven't. I'm sure he wouldn't be impressed though.
Ryan's long kick up towards Jackson. Can't complete the mark for the Dockers. Now pass back to Johnson into the middle of the ground. Fife through traffic, got around King. That sold his teammate in Asian. Enormous traffic. And he's tackled and locked up at centre half forward for Euroke. And a ball up 55 metres out from goal. Freo by 2 points.
And that was the pressure that I spoke about at halftime. You've got to apply that pressure in this dangerous part of the ground.
Marshall one down the tap. Henry overran it. Jackson tries to wrestle it clear from Rowan Marshall. Do it all again. Still at centre half forward for the Saints.
Clark King bursting through the stoppage, or Brayshaw it was. In fact, got the hand pass away. It's a turnover though. Marshall kicks it inside 50, holding the man. That was behind where the ball had dropped.
Caminiti free kick.
Caminiti. So I think his opponent might have slipped over, did he? And then just had a bit of a jumper tug. And that's what the umpire has paid in the end. We'll have a look at this one on the replay. I want to just put his arms around.
Yeah, it was just one of those arm around the belly ones. As soon as the umpires see that from behind now, for some reason, they've adjudicated that is now a hold.
So Caminiti, Mark placed 20 out directly in front. He's gone all the way back to the top of 50. One behind a couple of moments ago. This for the opening goal of the second half. Anthony Caminiti comes in and kicks it. And the Saints have the lead back. 6-4-40. Plays 5-6-36. 4.5 minutes played in this third term. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport.
He needs to make amends from his last one, Berkey, and that was a little bit better. Obviously, he would have been very disappointed if he had missed that one because it was 25 metres directly in front. But like the start of the very first quarter, the first 10 or 12 minutes, St Kilda had repeat stoppages in their forward 50 again. So on the back of that, we know that once you go there, you have 3, you have 4, you have 5, soon you're going to score.
And Cohen on the boundary.
Yeah, Paddy Dow is getting the mummification of the scone. They're dealing with it at the moment. He'll come on with the Joel Selwood kind of look. So Zach Jones still sitting in the back row.
If the Dockers watching and listening, yes, that was a bit of a soft free kick.
Sixth lead change of the match as the Saints return to the lead. Marshall does it all himself. Gets the clearance out of the middle. Long kick. Sharman brought it down. A chance for Wilson. Hand pass to Caminiti. Turns and fires on goal and puts through back-to-back goals. Anthony Caminiti able to pounce on the opportunity there, and the Saints skip out to a 10-point advantage. Euro 7-4-46. Wally up 5-6-36. 6 minutes gone. Third quarter on ABC Sport. Anthony Caminiti has 2.
Well, go back to the middle of the ground there. It was a ruck contest between two men coming at it. The ball went straight up in the air. It was Rowan Marshall with superior ruck craft. Stuck out his left arm, kept Jackson out of the way, threw it on his boot, got the ball forward. So it's a clearance to the Saints. It's a sloppy one, but that's all you need sometimes. And just good pressure around centre forward. Caminiti snaps and gets a goal. So Luke Jackson, you don't want to be fooled twice with the same trick here. I expect you to run and jump in the Rowan Marshall because you don't want to get beaten like that twice.
Caminiti, the hot hand to start this second half. 2 goals, 1 in the opening 5 minutes. Saints looking for another clearance through Windhager, who's got one arm pinned. Couldn't get his arm free to release, so it's held to him. We'll have another stoppage in the middle. Marshall palms it down. He was looking for Steele, just bounced out of his way. Steele now in over the top of Clark of the Dockers. That ball's going nowhere. Another stoppage. Third in a row, just outside the centre circles. Tossed up pretty quickly that time by the umpire. Jackson went to knock it out, then fell over. Is that a holding man free kick? It is. It's going the way of Clark, who flares it out wide to Chapman.
He gets the hand pass wider to Sharp, who swings onto his right-hand side, kicks up towards half-forward. Tracy can't take the mark. He's had quite night. Howard knocks it away from him. Bumped off it, though, as Tracy has another go at it, trying to knock it out. He's brought down by a couple of Saints. Henry lays the tackle with the support of Jack Sinclair, and the umpire will throw it up. Saints by 10 points. The only 2 goals through the opening 8 minutes of this third quarter. Jackson wins down the tap. Free kick over the shoulder. It's coming back. It's going to go the Saints' way. And Rowan Marshall is going to take it. I want to ask you about that tactic, Berkey. The leading clearance players in the game now. Matt Rowell was 79. Caleb Sarong was 71 before this weekend. Paddy Cripps was 64. We've seen the ruckman now. They don't get penalised for holding the ball. So Briggs was 63. Tristan Sherry at North Melbourne with 59. Marshall with 56. Is that a tactic that you think the game wants, where the rucks are taking out of the ruck and just banging it forward?
No, they don't. It's a stupid rule. I don't know whoever brought that rule in. It was basically to suck up to the ruckman, because the danger of the ruckman not being in the game anymore, so we need to make it easy for them. So we'll let you grab it out of the ruck and not have to get rid of it. So just pandering to ruck, soft ruckman, basically.
So Rowan Marshall's had 24 disposals and 7 clearances, including 3 centre bounce clearances, but there'll be a wrestle as to whether it's effective for his team. As Ryan takes it across half-back. Mark number 10 coming up for him as he switches it out to Pearce. The Dockers captain is able to release Clark, who kicks up the outer wing in the direction of Walters, but in from the side, Howard just couldn't complete the mark. Well, Uroka goes out of play and a throw in. And left half forward for the Dockers. Saints by 10 points.
Yeah, read that really well. Howard come forward, left his direct opponent and came forward to intercept that, and probably should have marked it in the end, but very well done.
Thrown back into play. Marshall from behind. Goes the second tap. It was only down the throat of Sarong, though. He flared it back by hand to Chapman, who puts it to the hot spot. Amos got to it, couldn't bring down the mark. Saints with numbers at ground level. Bonner. Left back pocket, tries to pull a kick. Now this is just a foot race. Wilson got there first, tried to kick off the ground. It didn't work. And then Hill did the same thing, straight to Walker, who kept on running, received the hand pass, left the footy behind. Now Bonner onto it. He's tackled by Walker. Did he have prior opportunity? Umpire says no. I'll have it at right half forward.
Soccer.
Yeah.
It was about 3 kicks off the ground.
Brad Hill socketed it into Walker's shins and then just gave up on the footy when it ricocheted 30 metres behind him. The Dockers with a clearance though, and now it goes to Walker at the back of the stoppage. A hand pass inboard to Young, who just got his hands free. Back to Walker, then by hand to Clark. Fires it inside, attacking 50. Tracy brought it down to the front of the pack, but again, Saints have the numbers. Wilkie forced onto his right boot, just puts it into space, and running hard and taking the mark is Sharman, who wants to go quickly because he's got Collard out the back.
And he takes the mark, but elects not to play on, and now he sends it up towards King, but it's out on the full. Young Lance Collard trying to make the right decision. The first-year Saint from WA, but just misfired on that occasion.
He's got some wheels on him when he winds up. I wanted to see him just turn and go then and put the foot on the accelerator and take off, but he went back and put it out in the full.
Sharp will take the free kick for the Dockers, trailing by 10 points. 11 minutes gone, third quarter on ABC Sport. Sends a high and a long ball up towards centre half forward. Tracy positioned himself in front. A whistle before the ball got there, and the Dockers are taking the advantage. Young chips it into the pocket. Amos can't take the mark. Howard makes the spoil. Amos trying to keep it alive. A whistle, and it is across the boundary line and a throw in.
No, free kick.
It is a free kick.
Chopping at the arms, I think he...
Jeez, that's going a fair way back, isn't it? And Jai Amos is eventually going to end up with the shot on goal in the left forward pocket, but play continued for about 3 or 4 seconds before we heard the whistle. And this is the interesting part for Jai Amos. 1 goal, 3 tonight. The young key forward for the Dockers out to the left. He'll need his best from just inside 50.
See if he gets a little bit more momentum in his kicking here. He still does the same stop. Very slow, isn't he?
The slow walking approach where he almost comes to a halt as he comes in from 48. And Amos, it's just about there and clears the line.
Great kick.
Jai Amos with the Dockers' first goal of the second half and his second of the match to pull the margin back to 4 points. Your Oaks way. The Saints 7-4-46 to the Dockers 6-6-42. 12 minutes gone, third term on ABC Sport. You're Brent Harvey and Nathan Burke.
I'm just having a look at the replay here. Yeah, I think the umpire did play a chop of the arms on the lead, and which is another benefit of actually leading.
Yeah.
You're going to have to play behind you. You stretch your arms out in front. Unless someone has got arms that are 3 foot longer than yours, they're not going to be able to reach the ball. It has to chop an arm. So the old days, that was a really good effort by Dougal Howard. That wasn't going to be a free kick, but modern football is, as soon as you touch the arms and not the ball, it's a free kick. So another reason to get like on your bike, like Jai Amos did then, and a really good finish.
Brisbane by 77 over the Tigers up at the Gabba as well, so that's got triple figures written all over it. Meanwhile, looking to come away again, Tracy for the Dockers. Gets it to Sarong, who kicks out wide. Good mark by O'Meara, going back with the flight. Brayshaw drifting into space. Here's his target. Brave going back with the flight. Didn't know what was coming behind him. Ball knocked out subsequently. A couple of Dockers fans shouting for a 50-metre penalty. Umpire wasn't having it. He kicks to the top of the square. Low flat ball and uncontested. In the end, Voss takes the mark.
So that is a well thought out kick. That was perfect. So he didn't put it to the spot where the forwards were. He put it 15 metres. Is it Voss, is it? Yeah. Put it 15 metres out in front and let him run and put speed on it himself. Beautiful kick, Brayshaw. Well thought out.
So in comes Voss. 20 out, sharp angle to the right. He's kicked it off the instep. It was always missing to the left. 1 behind. 7-4-46 the Saints. 6-7-43 the Dockers. Let's head downstairs, Ian Cohen.
Yeah, Zach Jones is on for his first run. So the move has been made. Zach Jones game 141. We're just working out who it is that's going to go to the backbench. And at the moment, it looks like it is going to be Cooper Sharman.
Yep. Thanks to Ian Cohen. Bonner receives it from the kick-in from Wanganeen Millera. Short to Josh Battle, who marks in the right back pocket. So Freo kicked 4 goals, 15 last week. They've had their issues in front of goal tonight. It's the kick up towards half-back. It's Winhager for the Saints. Gets the hand pass away to King. Links up. Gets it to Wood and now to Bonner. Drives a kick up the wing. In the pack, it's brought down by Patton. And unable to break clear is Paddy Dow with the head bandage around the top. Blocked up by Aish on a ball up centre wing. Saints by 3 points. 15 minutes gone. Third quarter, ABC Sport.
Thrown up. Dow just socketed it clear of the stoppage, but it's all Dockers. Fife looking for the hand pass inside. Takes a bounce as he was drifting backwards. Awkward hand pass to Ryan, who has to go back inside defensive 50 and gather, and he did it beautifully. Lovely turn, and then he overcooked the kick. Put Aish under a little bit of pressure. Coming through for support was Brayshaw, who just socketed it forward at any cost. Now Tracy, who gets to the top of 50, breaks one tackle, then kicks to the pocket, out in front of Walters, who takes the mark. Good footy, Freo. And it'll be a shot in the left forward pocket for Michael Walters to gain the lead back.
Clearly backs his leg, Tracy, because he just, who was it, Sharp out there, had every right to give him a good old spray. He had a handball and he just looked at him, shaped to give it, and thought, nah, I'm not giving, I'm kicking it myself.
10 metres inside the boundary. He's not shaping for the banana here, so it looks like he's going to go the drop punt. Walters stands and misses.
Wow.
6-8-44, plays 7-4-46. 2 points the margin in favour of the Saints. We're 16 minutes through this third term.
Mason Wood very lucky. If he had that chance to tackle again, he should have put in a far better effort.
So the last two scores have been the Dockers' way, but both have been behinds as Bonner gets it back on the last line, chips it out to Harwood, who marks in the left back pocket, can hand pass around the back to Riley Bonner, who kept running. Takes a bounce at the left half back, looks up to the wing. Marshall's the target, wrestling with Jackson, and he juggles the mark. Big Rowan Marshall looks up inside 50, sends it in the direction of King and Owens. King reaches up, almost completed the mark. It spills out, Patton overran it. King regathers, tackled by Pearce. Hand pass too sharp in the end for Steele. It's the wrong for the Dockers. Hand pass away to Johnson, into the middle of the ground. Emmett on the bounce, ducks the tackle. Hand pass to Brayshaw, gets a high touch. Advantage is taken. Brayshaw up to Voss at right half forward. Charging out. He's shoved over the boundary line as Howard. His opponent at the right time to see the ball out of play. A throw in 50 metres out from the Dockers goal. It's the Saints by 2 points.
The Dockers are dominating the last 5 minutes because their intensive rating has gone up. They're tackling better, they're getting numbers around the ball better, they're supporting each other better than what the Saints are and getting better shots at goal.
Jackson sharked the tap from Marshall, feeds it back to Young, high kick to the top of the square, and lovely mark by Battle for the Saints going back with the flight. Short kick, left back pocket, Wilson takes the mark on his chest.
And when the Saints are under the pump, they go into this chip the ball around and not really want to take the game on mode, and it doesn't do them any favours.
From left pocket to right back pocket, Bonner has it, chips over the top to Battle. They're outside of defensive 50 now. He kicks along the line. Ryan with a huge fist, gained 25 metres, off to Wanganeen Miller, although who was there to get it. He turned it over by hand to Emmett. Walters feigned the long hand pass, instead went by foot on the half volley. Lovely pick up by Clark, and the delivery was A1. Onto the chest of Amos, who'll line up from 45 out directly in front.
I reckon teams should start having players assigned to kick the ball inside 50 for them. Like Clark then, if he's around you, you have to give him the football. There's players from every single team. We do it off half-back. We give it to them when they run past. You should be trying to get the ball into your better users' hands, because that was very good by Clark. Beautiful flat side kick.
So this would be the 7th league change of the game. Jai Amos already kicked one in this third term. This for another. It's across the face for one behind.
Very close to the man on the mark then. Very close.
So the margin is one behind in favour of the Saints, ticking into time on in the third term.
So Voss 1-3, Amos 2-4. They've left a few out there, the Dockers, although Chapman takes the intercepting mark from the Sinclair kick. He looks up inside 50, decides to kick it laterally to Johnson. He's at right half forward. Moyup having all the momentum at this stage, but they can't put it on the scoreboard. He waits for the leads to come. Nothing really presents, so puts it up towards Voss. Banfield's in the pack as well. Wilson for the Saints. Gets it to Sinclair. Jones. Saints take the advantage. Marshall with the hand pass to Sinclair. Chips it out in front of Henry. Can he take on Aish at right half back? He takes a bounce. Has King on the wing. Cuts back inboard. Chips it over the top. Patton takes the mark. Ben Patton looks up. King's now pushed his way to half forward. The kick is wide of him once more. And I know he's out of form, but oh, goodness me, some of the delivery would have you out of form. up and down the wing, only to see it go out on the full.
Yeah, but don't stand there and sort of stick your arm up. Actually lead forward. He leads forward for that ball. He gets it. Outside 50, but he gets it.
Pearce with a long kick down the line. Amos tried to claim the mark as he went this spoil originally and then fell in his lap, but it'll be a ball up. Ian Cohen downstairs.
To back up Nathan Burke's comment, St Kilda's averaging 135 kicks in the defensive half, which is leading the league for that defensive chip around game.
So from the stoppage, taken down immediately was Jackson. We'll have another ball up, just short of centre wing here.
And what happens is they all spread out wanting that chip one, and then when it turns over, they're outnumbered where the ball is because they've all run sideways to try and get the easy short one.
Yep. So Jones knew he'd given that away on Brayshaw at the stoppage, so free kick paid by the outer zone umpire there.
Brayshaw's dominating this quarter in and under, and whenever the ball goes from a stoppage, he's the first midfielder to that next contest, working extremely hard.
He kicks to left half forward. Emmett was there front and centre. The hand pass missed Young. That was a golden opportunity for the Dockers. Now back in there, Chapman. He's tackled, and he's going nowhere. We'll have a ball up left half forward for Fremantle. They trail by 1 point, having led by 3 at the major break.
Brisbane by 71 points over the Tigers at the Gabba. Jones lays the tackle, but it was over the shoulder. And another free kick going Wheelup's way. And it's going the way of Andy Brayshaw, who's just working harder at the moment, getting down lower, kicks inside 50. Tracy can't hang on. And the footy is locked up in the left forward pocket for the Dockers. The tackling intensity is lifted. And Wanganeen Miller is on the very bottom of the pack and last to rise. Jagger O'Meara playing forward role and laying a big tackle. Toss in the air, Jackson and Marshall. Marshall wins down the tap. Paddy Dow's tackled immediately by Young, and the umpire will ball it up. Still on the left forward pocket for the Dockers.
Ball stuck here for the last 30 seconds. Tossed up. Marshall to the advantage of Bono, who's forced to snap on his right boot. Gained about 40 metres. Henry trying to get a run at the footy. Went back in and fished it out himself. Took the advantage after a free kick was paid. Off to Jones, and then he sold Steele into all sorts of trouble holding the ball. And it's a turnover. Alex Pearce with the free kick. Couple of kicks from goal. He just fires it as far as he can. It'll land about 20 out. Ames was up, couldn't take the mark at ground level. Plenty of Saints around the footy, and then taken in the tackle is Sinclair. He's going nowhere. The stoppage still in that left forward pocket. Ball seems to be pinned here at the moment.
The Saints need more from their skipper. Jack Steele only did 9 touches.
Marshall wins down the tap. Fight for it at will. Hand pass to O'Meara. Hard against the boundary. And Young shot on goal, trying to snap it across his body. Misses to the left-hand side. So they've had the last 4 scores of the match, Fremantle, but they've all been behinds. They locked it 7-4-46. The Saints to the Dockers 6-10-46. 23 minutes gone, third quarter. As Battle goes in short to Wilkie in the left back pocket.
Sinclair is the option short. Goes longer instead. Patton should take this mark. It slips straight through his fingers, but a bit of contact from behind there. It's a push in the back. So Patton has it at left half back for the Saints. Miller are near the boundary line. He gives him a spray too after he didn't get used. Owens up over the top, couldn't take the mark after the long kick downfield. It's a holding free kick again, so umpires starting to blow their whistle a little bit around stoppages at the moment. Clark has it. Sweeping hand pass to Chapman, who steps inside. And a hand pass to Young. That was off his right boot all the way along the ground. Picked up nicely by Wanganeen Miller with no time and space as Emmett had him wrapped up. We're at right half forward here for the Dockers. It's not pretty, but it's effective.
Andrew Mays and Matt Clinch calling the action. And Cohen down on the boundary. Nathan Burke and Brent Harvey, your experts on ABC Sport. Marshall wins down the tap. Steele, hand pass away. Wanganeen Miller just hacks a high kick up towards the wing. King tries to fly in from the side, but Pearce, the Wally up skipper, gets the fist in there and spoils it out of play in front of the 2 benches. Clocked at 46 apiece at the 25-minute mark of the third term. Toss back into play. Marshall works his way to the front. Jackson slides in front of him. Got it down to Johnson. kicks the Dockers up towards half forward. Tracy and Voss are both there off hands. Bounces off Sinclair. Overrunning the footy, Amos. Still a chance though. Voss gathers. Hand pass back to Brayshaw on 50. Hand pass to Johnson. Gets to 45 and he misses out to the right-hand side. The behind puts Freo in front, but have had their chances to extend that lead. 1-5 in this third quarter to the Saints 2-1. Fremantle by a point.
11 scoring shots at 17. Fremantle will be kicking themselves here.
So trying a more direct route here, the Saints to Wilkie. Got caught on his right, turns it over, Sharp, kicks straight back over his head to make him pay all the way to the line. Battle saves the day for the Saints. Takes it right on the goal line. Short kick is okay too to Sinclair. Chip over the top to Wilson, who thought about keeping on going. Instead, he just holds things up with a little bit of composure, the young man.
Saints got to get to three-quarter time without conceding a goal here. They don't look like kicking one. They just can't concede another one.
Long kick by Wilson. A couple of Dockers overran it, but Sarong was there for support. Off to Young by hand. Now to Draper, who kicks over the top. He puts Witkowski under all sorts of pressure with the high ball. Now Windhager just fashions a kick forward. Might bounce okay. Owens came bursting through. He's got players out everywhere. Goes himself, and he misses. Oh, he had Henry all on his own. 15 metres to his right. Could have hit him by hand or foot. He went himself and missed.
He was there for about 6 seconds, Maisie. He wasn't happy either. He had the hands out, Berkey. What about me?
That was a case of, I've kicked 3, but it's not as good as 4.
We're back even after 26 minutes in the third term.
Clark short to Brayshaw. Has it in the left back pocket. 11th disposal coming up in this third quarter. And 21 for the match as it kicks out wide, and Tracy can't quite take the mark. It's spoiled out of play. So Marshall with 26 disposals. The Yori Ruck with 26 and 7 clearances. Clark with 23. Bono with 22 for the Saints. 21 for Brayshaw and Sarong. Caleb Sarong only averaging over 30 disposals a match, so he's been relatively well held as here he is on cue, trying to wrestle it away from Steele. Spills out the way of Swilkowski, through traffic to Johnson. Hand pass miss Walters, sliding in Howard. The only Saint on half back. He wants the boundary line, he gets it. Don't think he disguised it all that well, but he got the benefit of the doubt.
Throw in to take place, 70 around from the Dockers goal.
The worry here is Andy Brayshaw standing against Mateus Philippou in a really dangerous position, 55 out from goal.
We're all locked up here late in the third term. Philippou, he was looking for Steele, couldn't find him. Little chip inside 50. Bursting onto it, Banfield. Off to Jackson, who was caught cold by Hill. And he just wants to settle things down. Battle offering a lateral option. He says, kick over my end. I've got a couple of teammates out the back here and we can kill the clock. Wanganeen Miller, the recipient. He chips over the top to Sinclair, who's happy to go back to the top of his mark with the seconds ticking down. Back to Wanganeen Miller. And then short to Wilkie. Top of defensive 50. Hand passes back to Wanganeen Miller. And he drives it long towards the wing. King works his way to the front. Got the fist. Oh, lovely pick-up by Wilson. Front and centre. Classical roving. Drives to Kilda inside attacking 50. Chapman with work to do here. And he just gets a boot to ball to Jackson, who was tracking back, and the clock beats everyone. So 1 quarter of footy to go, and we are locked up at 47 apiece. Euro, 7-5-47. While you're up 6-11-47. A third term of wasted opportunities there for the Dockers. Let's go through the goal kickers. 3 to Owens for the Saints and singles to Dow, Henry, and 2 to Caminiti as well. Meanwhile, for the Dockers, 2 to Amos, and 1 each to Sharp, Voss, Banfield, and Johnson.
The Saints with 2 goals, 2 in that third quarter to the Dockers 1-5, including they had about 6 scoring shots in a row, the Dockers, but could only manage behinds, and scores are locked at 47 apiece. Wonder who Berkey and Boomer think will prevail in this contest. We'll find out. It's Saturday Night Footy on ABC Sport.
Looking for an easy way to find out what's happening in the world of sport? Stay up to date with the week's best sports stories, highlights and analysis with the ABC Sport newsletter.
Oh, that is amazing!
It's sports content to make you think or allow you not to. delivered to your inbox every Saturday.
Game, set, bingo.
To sign up and get the latest sports news each week, head to abc.net.au/connect, scroll down and select ABC Sport.
The 2024 Sir Doug Nicholls round.
So Caminiti, Mark placed 20 out directly in front. He's gone all the way back to the top of 50. One behind a couple of moments ago. This for the opening goal of the second half. Anthony Caminiti comes in and kicks it. And the Saints have the lead back.
Sixth lead change of the match as the Saints return to the lead. Marshall does it all himself. Gets the clearance out of the middle. Long kick. Sharman brought it down. A chance for Wilson. Hand pass to Caminiti. Turns and fires on goal and puts through back-to-back goals. The slow walking approach where he almost comes to a halt as he comes in from 48. Amos, it's just about there and clears the line.
Great kick.
Jai Amos with the Dockers' first goal of the second half.
The 2024 Sir Doug Nicholls round.
On your radio.
Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
Scores level at 47 apiece. We said first to 70 might win it. Might be 60. Matt Clinch and Andrew Mays calling the action. Ian Cohen down on the boundary. Australian Football Hall of Fame members Brent Harvey and Nathan Burke. Who wins from here?
That's a good question because I don't know which way. If I'm going to choose someone right now, I think Fremantle that quarter had 15 inside 50s to St Kilda's 7. They look like the momentum's with them a little bit. I think they're using the ball a little bit better going inside forward 50, but not too much better if I'm going to be fair. So I think Fremantle for me, Berkey, from here.
Yeah, Fremantle will win because Andy Brayshaw had 11 that quarter. He's up to 21 going at 90% efficiency. Sarong's at 21. The best midfielders for the Saints is Dow and Windhager, both on 14. Captain Jack Steele only had 2 handballs that quarter. So for me, the reason why they had all those inside 50s, this is the Dockers, is because the dominance of Sarong and Brayshaw. So I can see that continuing. Zach Jones is now on the field. He started as a sub. So potentially you might want to say, hey, you know what, Zach, you've got to stand next to Andy Brayshaw at every single ball up. Make sure that any possession that he wins is under enormous pressure, and then you've got to get to that next contest with him as well, because if they don't do something about that, the way that he uses the footy and the run that he generates by his running, everyone runs with him, they will have too many inside 50s for the Saints to handle, because when the Saints are under the pump, they don't counter-punch. They don't attack your back. They go into their shell and go, oh, we're under the pump. Let's just kick the ball around, and they're not going to score. So, to me, I think that midfield dominance of Fremantle will be the reason why they'll win the game.
7 to 15 inside 50s Fremantle's way. They only kicked the 1 goal to St Kilda's 2. So that's a huge win for the Saints that quarter. In clearances, Fremantle that quarter, in the third quarter, 13 to St Kilda's 6. So the stats say that the Fremantle Dockers should have been well up. They did have a lot more scoring shots that quarter, so 17 scoring shots to 12 for the game. Dockers should be up on the scoreboard, but they're not, and that keeps the door ajar for both teams.
They kicked 5 consecutive behinds midway through that third quarter, and Justin Longmuir wanted to highlight the fact that they didn't play as badly against Sydney as what the score reflected, yet at the end of the game it was their least accurate performance in front of goal since 2019, as they managed 4 goals, 15-39. So there's a bit of a trend there that it's got to try and address to try and maximise their opportunities in front of goal.
It is, and Berkey highlighted earlier, in these close games, very low scoring, they matter. They matter every single week, but especially when it's a low-scoring close game. That, you know, you go back and a misses one from 15 metres out directly, a slight angle, but 15 metres out, you just got to nail that as a key forward.
But as a football world, we are too forgiving of it.
Agreed.
If you're playing basketball, somebody misses a couple of free throws down the end of the game and you lose by a point or two, they'll talk about it. But we are far too forgiving on players under the roof, no wind, the ball's completely dry, missing the ball from 15 metres out when you're professional footballers. Should not happen.
Ian Cohen down on the boundary.
not much to talk about in the football, so I thought I'd talk about the umpires. They are, of course, into the themed round as well. Their design is designed by Joshua James, a proud Noongar man, and also a VFL development goal umpire, and it is based on the theory of strong dreams in the Noongar language. So the umpires into the Sir Doug Nicholls round as well.
Thanks, Koza. The Saints have two designs in which they'll wear for the Indigenous round. The second will be against Naarm next week. Designed by Nathan Patterson, while the Dockers, theirs has been designed by club legend Michael Johnson in collaboration with Daniel McHenry. Final term is underway. Scores locked at 47 apiece. And Clark is getting a free kick at half-back after Sinclair got the clearance, got it to half-forward looking for Henry. But Jordan Clark will get the free kick. I was contemplating what you were saying, Boomer, whether Clark's the type of player that they could move him to half-forward, given he is normally such a good ball user. Yep. On cue, kicks towards half-back, puts it and an awkward bouncing ball that goes out of play. Sharp can't gather.
That front-on contact is a stupid rule.
Yeah, well, that was very light then, Berkey. He actually played that well, Clark. He took a little dive when he hit the ground and sucked the umpire in.
Thrown back into play, opening stages of this final term. Jackson to Sharp to Brayshaw. This is all by hand. Further afield, off to Sarong. He's looking to go back to Brayshaw. Instead, the centering kick is a lovely one too to Emmett. Marks inside the centre square. Things opening up for the Dockers. That's better delivery to Walters, who marks on his chest. He is 47 metres out directly in front, and this will take all of his might.
Well, that was Brayshaw out of the stoppage to Sarong. A beautiful kick into the middle of the ground, and what you described earlier, the tick lead. Back towards goal, comes straight back at the kicker, impossible to stop.
Walters goes the barrel. He didn't quite hit it properly. It just lands in front of the behind line and bounces over for one behind, and that is the margin.
He should have gave the ball. Hayden Young was running past, and he's a beautiful kick, and I don't understand that. It's like Steph Curry's open at the 3 and you're not giving it to him. Just play your role, give it to the kickers. Should have gave that, and then he ends up kicking a torpedo. Didn't make the distance anyway.
Approaching three-quarter time at the Gabba. Brisbane lead by 102 points. 21-6, 132 to the Tigers, 4-6-30. So the Lions, having had the draw last week with the Adelaide Crows, are back on the winners list in a big way. Hill kicks up towards Marshall. Can't take the mark. Jackson spoils it down. Windhager's hand pass. Away to Wanganeen Miller. Around his body up the wing. Walker back with the flight. Takes the mark for Wallier. Swings into the middle of the ground. Finds Clark. He looks up. Has Tracy free at half forward. He decides to go laterally rather than going direct and find Sharp. He's centre wing on the outer side.
And that's the thing. It's well called. But he could have went forward then. Now what's happened is a stop play, and St Kilda have got nearly every player behind the football.
Dockers by a point. Sharp up towards half forward. Amos can't take the mark. Spoils from behind. Brayshaw trying to run onto it. Can't take it cleanly. Windhager's tackled and brought down. The umpire will ball it up in the right forward pocket for Walliop. They lead by a point. 6-12-48 to Europe 7-5-47.
Ruckman run in. Jackson rather recklessly over the top of Marshall. Gave away the free. It was almost like he was late to the party and just tried to jump over the top of him. From the clearing kick, Pearce bursts onto it. Just got his hands free at the last moment. Off to Sharp. Off one step. Kicks inside, attacking 50 over the head of Jackson. Trying to run onto it, Voss, but leading the race there was Howard. Hand pass to Wood around the body. Dropped by Owens. And then he fell and lost his feet. Coming in for assistance, Caminiti. He's taken in a tackle. A ball up to take place. Right half forward for the Dockers.
This is like the Benny Hill show. There's stuff going on everywhere. Falling over, drop marks.
Doesn't feel like two sides will be competing for the top 8, but Sarong is able to hack a kick inside 50. Patton charging hard. Couldn't gather. Voss the other way. And Steele gets a hand pass to Sinclair. A couple of the key contributors up towards Max King. Was he held by Pearce? No whistle. Hand pass comes out to Aish. He drives the kick inside 50. Tracy has to spoil from behind against Battle. Wilkie pulls his kick, kicks out in front of Hill. Foot races on. O'Meara gets there first. Gathers for Wally up, but can't keep it in play. As he was trying to just keep his balance, running at full tilt, but eventually across the boundary line. And a throw in with the Dockers leading by a point. 4 minutes gone. Final term on ABC Sport. Here's Andrew Mays.
Ruckman gather. It's been a good battle all night between Marshall and Jackson. Jackson playing this one from behind, works his way to the front. Marshall just palmed it straight to Jackson in the end. Emmett on hands and knees, farms it out, but only as far as Henry, who might have been held without it. Then dragged it back in. Umpire's got a decision to make, and he says, I'll have it.
Berkey, why did a ruckman go back so far and they end up charging in every single boundary throw-in?
They're not the smartest, to be honest.
Lovely shark there by Young from the contest. Off to Aish, who kicks high to the top of the square. This is a 2-on-1. It was punched back into congestion. Emmett runs onto it. He didn't go the snap in the end. Hand passes it further back to Sharp. Inboard. Tracy takes the mark. No 15. Called to play on. Off to Ryan. Will he fire? Gets around one. Keeps it low and hits the posts. Well, that just about sums up tonight. 2 points, the margin in favour of the Dockers. 5 played, final term.
Normally you'd say, oh, no, they're wasting chances. The other team are going to go zoom up the other end and get a goal. That's generally the way footy's played, except the Saints don't zoom. They don't zoom from one end of the ground to the other. This is stop-start stuff.
It's a thriller, but not in the fashion you'd imagine. 6-13 for the Dockers as Webster kicks up towards half forward. Owens had it scored away. Ryan gets the hand pass to Sharp, kicks up towards Young. Free kick going the Dockers' way, centre wing, downfield. As Young turns and kicks into the middle of the ground, he has options aplenty. Tracy takes the mark, has O'Meara free at half forward. He marks just inside 50. Can he steady and goal? He misses. Out to the right. Made that 6-14. 50. For Wallylup and the Saints 7-5-47. I'm not sure Justin Longmuir would see the funny side of it, but Freo lead by 3 points.
7 inside 50s to Zilch this quarter, Fremantle's way.
No pressure for O'Meara there, 40 out directly in front on the run. And he almost missed everything. The Saints are able to work this up with a wing. Good tackle by King, who hasn't been involved much, and he's won himself a free kick, holding the ball against Aish. Good tackle by the big man. So he's got it right on centre wing. Flares out the handball to Hill. Hill off the side of the boot a little. This will get close to the boundary line. It falls out the back to Collard. Collard in the right forward pocket. Unselfish, missed the target. All on his own was Wood at the top of the square. He has to go back and fetch it. Hand pass is okay over the top. Now Sinclair gets around one tackle to 40. This is all the way to the goal line and seen over. Lovely defensive effort by Chapman, double fist to get through for a rush behind.
Fremantle Cardinals in there. 3 players went up in their back line. The ball got over the back. You just can't allow that in today's football.
Do you reckon if we said to either coaches, maybe next goal wins and we just shake hands?
Not next goal, we'll be here all night.
Yes.
I reckon the crowd might be happy with that as well.
Through the middle of the ground to Jackson. Takes the mark for Wallylup. Hand pass to Sarong, kicks out wide. Amos couldn't complete the mark. He'd lost his opponent, palmed it down to his own advantage, and then he's tackled by Mason Wood, but it was high. And Jai Amos will take it. He's still 75 out from home. Hand pass to Sharp, out to the right half forward line. He goes to home, and he's got it at last. Jeremy Sharp with a long-range goal for his second. And Wallylup at last have struck gold to extend their lead to 8 points, 7-14-56 to the Saints, 7-6-48. The first goal of the final term comes at the 8-minute mark. Brent Harvey and Nathan Burke with you.
Well, he's had a good start to this last quarter. He's had 6 touches. We know how good his running ability is, and that's his strength. So he's had a good start to this quarter. Good goal. We're missing him from absolutely everywhere tonight. He kicks one from 45 out, close to the, 55 out, close to the boundary. So fantastic finish by Sharp.
Interesting call by the umpire, Mason Woods tackle. Oh, was this one touched? Not too sure. We're having a look at it again before we bounce the ball. But
so Rowan Marshall get a touch on it as everyone's just pausing in the middle of the ground.
Yeah, we're good to go, I think.
Yeah, Mason Wood went in to tackle Amos. He got a hand over Amos's shoulder, but Amos fended. We're still looking at this one.
Too.
I reckon it's been touched.
So
it definitely hit the fingers. Was it over the line?
Left arm outreached. Did Marshall get it before it crossed the line? He did.
No goal.
Scrotch it out of your record. We still don't have a goal.
For all of you who said next goal wins, we're going home, turn around and come back.
And it's almost like the Saints fans have scored a goal by denying Freo one. It's an arm wrestle under the roof of Docklands. So Wallylup lead by 3 points now.
5:15 in absolutely pristine goal-kicking conditions.
Kick-in is horrendous. Gave him no opportunity. Now Tracy hooks it round and he makes them pay. Oh, that's bad footy all round. And Tracy makes it a 7-point play at the end, and we do have that goal. 7 goals, 15-57 to 7-6-48 the Saints. And it's taken a while, but finally Freo get their first of the final term. Let's head downstairs, Ian Cohen.
Well, in amongst all that celebration, it was quite comical, but I think Johnson here on this wing is still rubbing his eye. I reckon he copped a poke in the eye in amongst all the Dockers celebration. We'll have a look at it when we see it again.
Oh, yeah.
On the SMS, 0437 774 774. Adrian from Geraldton. This is disgusting football. Well, it's sort of entertaining. It depends on your definition of disgusting.
Can we get a score check on the other game too?
Yes, 21-6, 132 to the Tigers 4-6-30 as Fife out of the middle. Hand pass away to Young. Firing shot on goal. He misses. And a minor score for Wallulop. The margin is 10 points while it's 100 plus at the Gabba. Brisbane doing a number over the Tigers.
Saints have to do something different here. They cannot continue to just maintain possession because, one, they're not good at it, and two, they're not going to score any goals from it.
So long kick out of defence. Walker's there to roam. Oh, what a... Don't argue as well. He put Owen on his backside. It was very quick to get back up. Off to Ryan, who concedes a bit of ground to go backwards to Sarong. Margin 10 points in favour of the Dockers. 11 played final term on ABC Sport. High kick from Sarong. Good luck marking that one. Jackson leapt high. Couldn't take it on the way down. Now a chance for Jones of the Saints. Got one arm free and just got his boot to ball. Umpire called play on. It was caught under Johnson's feet, and we'll have a ball up left half forward here for the Dockers.
11 minutes of football, 11 and a half minutes of football. One inside 50 for the Saints. Berkey, you can't kick a big score if the ball's not in there, can you?
No, you can't.
Hard to blame the forwards in that situation.
Jackson wins down the tap. Winhager trying to get it away. Couldn't link up with Hill. Chance of the Dockers. Fife gathers at half forward to Swikowski. Free kick. Frio's. No, St Kilda's way. It's well done by Sam Swikowski. Realised if he kicked it, he would give away 50. It comes back to Brad Hill at right half back. He plays on. Dances around Banfield at the mark. From right half back up towards Owens and King at half forward. King had a big piece of it, not paid the mark. Owens has hand pass to Jones. He chips it into the pocket. A chance underneath it. Filippo couldn't complete the markers. Chapman did well to spoil. The Saints are out and almost a chance. As you mentioned, they haven't had a lot of inside 50s. That was just their second of the quarter. And it's a throw in the right forward pocket.
They're still in it because the margin is only 10 points and there's still plenty of time left on the clock. Toss back into play. Caminiti doing a bit of ruck work. Down to Henry, who's got one arm pinned behind him. Spun around and umpire says no prior.
Love the enthusiasm, Maisie. Let's get up and about, boys. There's only 10 points in it. Come on.
Caminiti palms it down. Sarong with the clearance. Tumbles one outside of defensive 50. No mark taken. At ground level, Battle hovering around, making sure it doesn't get out. Tracy there as well. And we'll have a stoppage right half forward for the Saints where they can set up.
We need someone to tuck the ball under their arm, take 2 or 3 bounces, break this game completely open.
St Kilda captain Jack Steele comes charging on as Marshall wins down the tap from the bench. Winhager got it down to Hill, kicks over the head of King and Pearce racing back, can't gather, hard against the boundary. The experienced defender sees it out of play and a boundary thrown up against the left behind post.
Why wasn't King leading straight?
I don't know, but I think there's something wrong with the balls tonight, Berkey.
I know.
They're out of shape, they're not regulation, something's going on.
He'll pick up the ball, 55 out, run straight to the 50-metre line, and King wants to wrestle with his guy at the top of the goal square.
Euroke inside the attacking 50. Caminiti down to O'Meara. He's locked up by Zach Jones. It's in the left forward pocket, just 20 metres out from the Saints' goal. Thrown up. Caminiti tries to take another rock against Jackson. Jackson gets a hand pass to Sharp. Little dribble kick to Johnson in the back pocket. He kicks up towards halfback. Wilkie's in front of Amos. Tries to gather. Got it to the advantage of Webster. Hand pass to Wanganeen. Milleray missed. Jones trying to go back with the flight. He locks it up. 45 metres out from the Saints' goal. Ian Cohen on the boundary.
You would think Ross Lyon wants some wheels and some movement and some line breaking. Lance Collard has spent a long time on the bench this whole night.
Ball tossed up. No definitive clearance as it's held to Clark. Spun around and stealing short. He was going nowhere. Tossed up quickly again. Jackson and Owens this time in the ruck. Henry tries to break free. Had a fumble. Jackson didn't. Hand pass to Ryan, who did. And then on hands and knees. Tries to get it out. Couldn't quite do so. Did it the last moment. Then he turns tackler himself, and it's going to be holding the ball. Very unlucky for Jones, who was caught on the bottom of that pack. Ball ricocheted underneath him. He had no option but to just grab it. And he was pinged for holding the ball. Ryan with the free kick. So Ryan, not in a hurry to go anywhere. He's looking towards the outer side. Secure to get numbers to the fall of the ball here. And Wilkie's taken in a tackle. He's going nowhere, and we'll have a stoppage behind centre wing.
Andy Brayshaw spent a lot of time on the bench here trying to get on. The ball's on the other side of the ground, but it's going to work in their favour because he's going to be super fresh when he needs to be at the end of this quarter.
Thrown up, Marshall wins down the tap. It's a wrong for the Dockers. Hand pass to Fife. Back to Walker, away to Clark. Just got a kick around Wanganeen Miller inside 50. Amos works his way to the front. Spoiled away from him. A chance for steal. Hand pass to Marshall. He's tackled and gone. Caleb Sarong lays the tackle.
Jack Steele, why do you handball to a ruckman standing still with his back towards goal?
When you're facing goal.
You're facing goal, you're running. It's just, you know what, we'll rack up our possessions. That's all it is.
In fact, it was Jai Amos who laid the tackle, having competed in the air. Good follow-up work. And now's the interesting part. Having had his issues in front of goal, 2 goals, 4. You would imagine to just about put a nail in it, with the Dockers leading by 10 points. Out to the right, he'll have to kick every bit of 50 with this slow approach towards goal. This time he swings onto his left from outside 50 and misses to the right-hand side. A minor score, 2-5 tonight. And the Dockers lead by 11 points, 16 minutes gone, final term.
So his routine was completely different, and he did do the stop, start, slow thing, and then right at the very end, he did 4 or 5 really quick steps to get that momentum.
Bonner with a long kick out of defence. Good one too to Wood, who kicks along to Jones, who's forward of centre wing. Fife stands the mark. Saints fans want 50 as Fife kept drifting inside. Jones with a long kick inside, attacking 50. Marshall got there, punched away from him. Henry fights on at ground level, still with the hand pass out. Back to Wood, snap one inside, attacking 50. And Tracy there to save the day for the Dockers. 11 points the margin in favour of the Dockers. 17 gone, final term.
Up towards Ward, who comes in from the side. Can't complete the mark. As he cannon into his own teammate is a little worse for wear. Josh Battle very slowly gets to his feet to resume for the throw-in.
Time in possession's 41% to the Saints, 43. So they've had the ball the same. But you look at the inside 50s, heavily favouring the Dockers.
Thrown in, Marshall and Tracy. It's knocked down to the front. Umpire waits a few moments to see if Mason Wood can knock it out. He can't do so. He's sharp over the top, and the umpire will ball it up. Marshall and Tracy, they tangle. Tracy taps it down to Young. It ricochets back to Marshall. His kick is partially smothered. Sinclair gathers. Hand pass to Wood. Swings back onto his left-hand side. Centering ball. Philippou drops the mark. It spills to Chapman. He's tackled and the ball is locked in the Saints forward 50. A throw up 35 metres out in the left forward pocket.
You've got to take every chance.
The opportunities.
If you're the Saints, and that was the chance. Philippou dropped it.
It's the opportunities, Berkey, isn't it? And the ones you look back on.
Caminiti had his tap sharked by Johnson, who kicks it long to the wing. Voss fights hard at ground level after initially competing for the mark. He's going nowhere. Ball up will take place, just forward of centre wing for the Saints. They've got to get going quickly now. Just under 8 minutes of playing time left, so still time if they're good enough. Marshall tapped it down to Steele. At the back of the stoppage, snaps on his left, tumbles it towards 50. King pushed out of the way by Pearce, and then that might be a dangerous tackle. It is. Had his jumper, spun him 360, and then we've seen those paid a little more this season.
That was just frustration by King. He knew that that's a free kick, but he was frustrated.
Pearce short to Tracy, who goes across defensive 50. Mark taken by Ryan, still inside defensive 50. He goes to Walker, who's a little more central. So the Dockers will be happy to kill a few moments off the clock here as well. They lead by 11. Back to Ryan he goes. Then Ryan short to Clark. So this ball has moved about a metre.
Clark up to Young, who marks at left half back. The Brisbane Lions 23-6-1-44. Lead the Tigers 5-6-36 at the Gabba. Midway through the final term there as well. As Young looks up towards half forward. Kicks towards Tracy and Amos. Amos flies in the pack. Off hands. It's Emmett at the back. Hand pass away to Banfield. Takes a bounce. Inside 50. Kicks towards Force. He could have gone himself in from the side. Mason Wood getting back. Takes the mark. Provides good support to Battle. Kicks to Jones. Can the Saints move it quickly? Hand pass to Wanganeen Miller. He kicks up towards Mitch Owens on the wing, trying to juggle the mark against Clark. Clark did well. Slides in. Wins it for Wallylup. Hand pass away to Aishu. Links up now with Brayshaw. Swings onto his right-hand side and kicks out to Sharp.
Composure there by Brayshaw, and then Sharp rifles one inside, attacking 50, going back with the flight into space. O'Meara takes it 40 out from goal.
Well, this is an important kick. If he kicks this, they win the game. I know there's still 6 minutes to go, but St Kilda don't look like scoring, Berkey, so he kicks this. They've got to score 3 goals within 6 minutes. They won't win the game from there to St Kilda Footy Club.
It comes on the back of some great defending to put pressure on Wanganeen Malera running out of the half-back line. Then it was Clark right on the backside of Mitch Owen. Didn't concede that he was going to get the lead up, sport the ball, and that's why they're having a shot for goal through great defence.
One behind earlier in this term for O'Meara. This for his first goal of the evening. He's hit it pretty well. They like it in the goal square as it sails over their head. Wallylup might have done enough. His first of the evening. 8-17-65 the Dockers. 7-6-48 the Saints. And the margin now looking a little more comfortable at 17 points.
They've kicked the last 3 goals, the Saints. One coming, the 8-minute mark, Tracy, and the 12-minute mark of the third quarter was their third last goal. But it's a great call, Berkey. The pressure from the Fremantle players, just to chase down and put enough pressure on Wanganeen Malera to turn that ball into a 50-50, and Clark come from nowhere and on a bigger opponent, brought the ball to ground. Dockers get and another inside 50 and a beautiful finish by O'Meara. Well done. Over for me.
Clark's done it all tonight. He's 27 possessions, which is the leading disposal winner for the Dockers, and he's also defended well. So shows you can actually do both. Surprise, surprise.
2 goals, 6 Wallylup in this final term. They could have made it much easier for their fans tonight. Marshall tries to get a clearing kick for the Saints. It's gathered by Sarong. Swings onto his left-hand side. Kick towards 50. Emmett went back with the flight. Cannon into Patton and gave away the free kick. And the free kick will go the Saints' way at right half back.
Now, what do they do here? Do they chip the ball wide and get a few touches, or just bang it long? Just bang it long.
Hatton veers out to the right, kicks up towards King and Wood. Max King reaching over the top, can't take the mark. Pearce gets it to Johnson, cleverly knocked on by Swakowski. Patton reads it best though for the Saints. Hand pass to Winhager, to Wood. Chips it in the middle of the ground. Sinclair marks. He wants to chip it to Paddy Dow, take it high. As O'Meara's searching arm to spoil, collected him high with the head already bandaged. Paddy Dow onto the right-hand side, drives it long inside 50. Filippo up, juggles it, got it. Play on's the call. Dumped in a tackle by Clark. Oh, I thought he had 2 or 3 bites of it.
I think the umpire paid it. Oh, no. Oh, he must have. He blew his whistle and he called play on.
I reckon the Freo got the first.
Chapman got a touch on it.
Tossed up. Best chance for the Saints in a while. Clearance. Windhager might have taken Young high. Filippo ended up with it. Flying shot at goal. Just misses. One behind. 16 points the margin in favour of the Dockers. 23 minutes played in this final term.
I think the Saints have taken 1 mark inside 50 so far this game.
They've scored 3 behind since the 5-minute mark in the third term.
3. What do we had? 5 goals in the second half. Hasn't been the greatest spectacle of our game, but Wallylup fans will get to sing the song at this stage, leading by 16 points. Ryan from the back pocket up to the wing. Tracy flies, can't take the mark. Marshall thinks he had enough of it, and he's paid the mark. Centre wing.
The positive is here, Maisie, we get one more goal from Fremantle. They hit 70 first.
16 points, the lead of the Dockers as Marshall goes short to Patton into the middle of the ground. Wanted Wanganeen Miller a risky kick. O'Meara spoils it down. Swikowski knocks it on. Fife comes charging through, left it behind. Swikowski tackles, spills out. A chance for Bonner, gets the hand pass away to Patton, to Wanganeen Miller and now to Steele. Kicks out towards Wood. He gathers just inside the boundary.
Good chasing by Tracy as well, who takes him over, and it'll be a ball in. It's a nice little win there for the key forward who jogs back to attacking 50.
Yeah, corralled him really well. Mason Wood wanted to get on his left, but trying to sell the dummy 2 or 3 times. Tracy done a fantastic job, keeping him boundary side then.
Toss back into play. On centre wing, Jackson over the top. Fife out of fumble, back into congestion. Swikowski going nowhere. We'll have a ball up. Still on the AFL logo.
St Kilda have pushed Marshall forward now, just potentially to take a clunk up forward and give him something.
Jackson palms it to the advantage of Brayshaw, who's happy to concede another stoppage, and the umpire comes in to throw it up. Jackson and Owens now in the ruck. Fife wins the clearance. Hand pass to Young. Further back to Swikowski. Now off to Brayshaw. Back to Swikowski. Running out of room. Defensively goes by hand to Aish, who jams it on the boot towards the wing. No mark taken. Fife front and centre. Just pushed off it in the end. Oh, Voss broke free. Showed great strength in that contest. Ball spilled free in the end, and then he overran it. Windhager comes in, swoops, and turns it over. Fife able to gather. Sweeping hand pass is good as well. Might have been taken out afterwards as well. Fife is down. He's just getting to his feet in back play. Meanwhile, Brayshaw happy to slow things down, and Banfield takes it on his chest.
Had a couple of players hit up at the football just then, but was very central. Needs to go boundary side.
Banfield kicks to the lead of Fawcett. Sport out of play by Callum Wilkie. And a boundary throw in, 75 metres around from the Wayup goal. They lead by 16 points. They have the Pies back in Perth next week, ahead of Melbourne and the bye. So win tonight gets them to 6-4. They'll be just outside the top 8 on percentage. Thrown back in. Jackson wins down the tap against Mitch Owens. Sarong can't break clear. Seeing Steele wrestle for the footy. Caleb Sarong with 28 disposals, including 8 clearances. Jack Steele has had the 17 disposals on the 9 clearances. Sarong on the move, trying to get a clearance once more, but it's Steele. Gets it to Owens, tackled and dispossessed by Sarong. And scrap forward at ground level, and the umpire will ball it up. And the Saints at a stage of the season where the questions will be coming quick and fast.
Heading for the exits, and the Freo supporters are starting to find their voice. Banfield on the end of a couple of hand passes. Gets inside attacking 50 and then misses everything. It bounces just before the behind post and out for a boundary throw in right forward pocket. 16 points the margin in favour of Wayup. 27 played. Final term here. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport. Ball will be tossed back into play. It's been an arm wrestle all night. Not the prettiest game you will ever see. Jackson palms it down in front. O'Meara running onto it. He can get his second of the final term, and he does. Finishes the job for Wayup. 2 to Jager O'Meara. 22 points the margin. And Freo are taking 4 points back home to Perth.
Well, that was just 2 stoppages, really dumb play. First one, can't remember the player who kicked it out of bounds. He was standing in the corridor all by himself. Ball dribbles out to him, he runs, kicks it out of bounds. And that time it was just letting Jake O'Meara get to the ball first. And no body on him, no willingness to actually defend first. It was all, hey, I might get myself an extra stat here before the end of the game. And Jake O'Meara, who's too smart a player to not capitalise on that sort of situation. So, unfortunately, that's the tail of the tape with the Saints. There's too many defenders thinking that if I get my 25 touches, well, then I'll roll out here again next week and not have to actually defend anyone.
Nathan Burke with you on ABC Sports. Sinclair got it from Marshall, back to Marshall. The dash from Wanganeen Miller, kicks inside 50. King on the lead, can't hang on to the mark. Pearce was right there with him. Wilson gets the hand pass away. Filippo off balance, fires on goal, and this time gets it. A tough night for Mateus Filippo, having returned from the VFL, but the Saints have a goal in the final term. It comes almost half an hour in, after the Dockers have managed to boot 3 goals 6, and the margin is 16 points. In front of a crowd, it must be said, which felt light, 19,262. Wally up 9-17-71 to the Saints 8-7-55.
Well, that's where Filippo needs to play. He got dropped out of the team because they were trying to make him a midfielder and a winger, wasn't getting enough of the footy. Went back to the reserves. Hasn't had a big night at all. But this is the first time he's actually spent time in the forward line. Again, they're trying to make him a midfielder and a winger. He just doesn't work hard enough to actually play in that position yet. He might get that in his career, but at the moment he's just capitalise every now and again.
Dockers by 16. Another centre clearance here via Sinclair onto the chest of Wood, who can roll around and have a crack from 55. And Switkowski knew it was coming and smothered. Came in from the side. Then the snap around the corner is lovely. It'll pitch and bounce beautifully for Sarong. Forced onto his left. Puts it out in front of Walters, who'd spent it before he had it, because he could see Jai Amos all on his own in the pocket. He fumbled, it went out of bounds, forward of centre wing.
Well called, Maisie. Switkowski was all over that. He knew that Mason Wood was going to wheel and go onto his left side, because he had to get the angle to kick from about 55 metres, and he was all over it. That's a thinking footballer right there.
Well, you're up by 16 points as time is starting to run out. Jackson wins down the tap. Owens dives on top of the footy. And he and Young are wrestling for it. The umpire comes in. Jack Steele also involved. Tossed in the air. Jackson and Owens. It spills down the way of Sarong. He hacks a kick up towards the 50. Charging out Amos. Good clean pick up with one arm. Swings around past Hill. A centering ball for Banfield, who takes the mark. Just left of centre and will shoot from 45 metres out and might have the last kick of the night.
He deserves an extra goal, this fella. He's worked really hard. He's created a lot of opportunities for himself. Comes up the ground, gets involved in the play, sprints back really hard. He just hasn't capitalised, and this could be the last kick of the game. He deserves a goal.
Royal return to the winners list. They overcome the Saints and their goal-kicking woes, with Bailey Banfield looking to finish with a behind. 9 goals, 18-72. So Euroyork, 8-7-55. The Dockers back on the winners list, while for Ross it's 5 losses in the last 6 weeks. The Dockers led by 8 points at quarter time, by 3 points at half time. There was 5 lead changes in the second quarter, and scores were locked at 47 apiece at 3-quarter time. But the Dockers had all the answers in the final term. They booted 3 goals to 1 to run out winners. 9-18-72 to the Saints, 8-7-55. An important win to move to 6 wins and 4 losses. They're just outside the top 8 on percentage. Well, for Ross Lyon, there's a reality check there for the Saints, having featured in the finals last year. They have a lot of work to be done at 3 wins and 7 losses. In front of 19,265 fans, the Dockers winners by 17 points. For the winners, 2 goals to Jai Amos and 2 goals to Jager O'Meara. He kicked his first goal of the season in the final term. He followed it up with another one to answer that. Individual goals to Sharp, Tracy, Voss, Banfield and Johnson. Meanwhile, for the Saints, 3 goals to Mitch Owens, 2 goals to Caminiti, individuals to Henry and to Dow. While you're up with a crucial win on the road. There's 6 wins and 4 losses. The thoughts of Brent Harvey and Nathan Burke with you on ABC Sport.
Well, I'm not sure how long we got. Quincy?
A little while.
We got a little while?
Yeah.
I was hoping that wasn't the case. But, no, I shouldn't say that. Fremantle, what have they had? They've had 27 scoring shots to 15. The game probably should have been over at three-quarter time. It was just missed opportunities from both teams. The Saints missed some really easy goals, some really easy kicks going inside forward 50, and Fremantle did the same. I didn't think they started lowering their eyes until sort of midway through that second half, leading into three-quarter time. Berkey, I want to know what type of team St Kilda are, because they're a very defensive team, right? You know they're not going to kick a big score, so they're trying to keep the opposition to a really low score as well. But they've got Wanganeen-Malera, they've got Bradley Hill, they've got Sinclair, they've got Bonner, who all like to run with the ball. And we see the last goal that the Saints kick when Wanganeen-Malera runs through the centre of the square, bouncing the ball. Are they a fast team? Are they a slow team? Are they a defensive team? I'm a little bit confused about where they actually sit right now. 53 inside 50s to Fremantle to 45 to the Saints. It's just not enough ball. King needs more ball, and memory out. I think they actually need another tall as well. They're just not going to kick enough scores to beat the really good teams in the competition.
No, they're not. The type of team that they should be is the type of team that we saw for the majority of last year, which was renowned for their manic pressure. As soon as the other team picked up the footy, if the first bloke tackling didn't get you, well, then the second one got you. Or there was a third one in line that got you. And they turned the ball over in good parts of the ground, which enabled them to get field position and not kick a huge score, but keep the other team to a beatable score. And what we've seen this year, for some unknown reason, and, well, I think I know why, that when the team's not going well, the players have a choice. And they say, you know what, I will focus really heavily on my tackling and my defending, and that might mean that I get 7, 8, 10 less possessions than otherwise I would. And they have a choice. I can do that, or I can not focus on that area of the ground. I can focus on spreading out and getting short passes. The Saints had 105 marks tonight, and I can focus on that. And you know what? I might get 25 plus possessions, and that'll get me a game next week. And so Ross Lyon, he has allowed the players to get away from how this team needs to play football, which is that manic pressure. They are not good enough to kick 100 points. And so they need to say, we can't kick 100 points just yet in our evolution. We've got a really young forward line. It's not going to happen. We haven't got the skill through the middle part of the ground. So until we can build that, we need to keep the other teams, like they did tonight, to 72 points, but through pressure. Fremantle only kicked 72 points because they kicked 9 goals, 18.
Yep.
Yeah, it should have been 100 points. So they've gotten away from the way they should be playing the game by getting ball hungry, by getting greedy, and that has to come back to Ross Lyon for allowing his players to get away for most of the season by doing that. He's rewarding the wrong thing.
Berkey, you mentioned manic pressure there twice. They got out-tackled tonight by 21.
Got out-tackled. Fremantle had more of the ball, yet they had more tackles.
Yep.
Now, that is the wrong thing. The Saints must win the tackle count every single week.
Here's the Dockers with Ian Cohen.
There you go, there's the song of the winners. Obviously their 6th win of the season, 9-18 they kicked, but we're going to talk to a man who pretty much had the ball on a string down at half-back. So Luke Ryan's going to join us in just a moment. Looks like they're going in for a meeting. There is a lot of former Dockers down here as well, so there's a really good feeling in the rooms, and they are very, very happy with this win. We'll have Luke Ryan for you in a moment.
Thank you very much, Koza. Warrior winners by 17 points, 3 wins of their last 4 in the season, and they're now just outside the top 8 by percentage, Berkey.
Yeah, so I'm going to come back to the coaching staff here and not blame the players completely, because he's allowing them to play this game. that play this style. What round are we up to now?
10.
This is round 10. So if he wasn't happy with the amount of pressure they were putting on the other team, 10 rounds is long enough to have that change, to see that change. But because we didn't see that change tonight, we saw it in slight patches where they tackled well, but not nearly enough for a team who is not as skillful as the team they're coming up against. Their midfield is not as talented as Brayshaw and Sarong as these guys, so they have to be pressure, tackle, but they don't. They prefer to spread out and get one of those 105 short passes and not get the ball inside 50. So I'm not sure what they're trying to do. I know over the pre-season they worked a lot more on their ball movement, trying to be a bit more faster, a bit more exciting. But you can't lose your DNA. Every team who played St Kilda last year will be saying to themselves in the lead up, this team pressures a lot. We can't overuse the ball around the contest because they'll nail us. They'll hit us hard and they'll turn the ball over close to their goal. So don't muck around with the footy. That's completely gone out the window. And again, I'm coming back to the coaching staff and blaming them for allowing the players to play the way that they're playing.
I'm going to be fascinated to hear Ross's, I always am, no matter if they win, lose or draw, his press conference, because I think he's stuck by him for a little bit. I reckon we might start seeing a little bit of a change, because I don't think tonight he will be super impressed with his team's performance. I don't think, it didn't look like a Ross Lyon team tonight, in terms of the pressure and the stuff that you were talking about earlier, Berkey.
Yeah, we haven't had it for 10 weeks, though.
Yeah.
So
that's what I'm saying. He's stuck by him, and I reckon now we might just see a little change in Ross. Might see a little bit more angry Ross.
Full time at the Gabba as well. The Brisbane Lions 26-7. 163 have defeated the Tigers. 6-8-44, so a big win for the Brisbane Lions after the draw last week against the Adelaide Crows. 119 points. The final margin, in which Kai Lohmann booted 5, Charlie Cameron with 5, 3 to Danaher and to Rayner, Morris with 2, a big score. And for the Tigers, well, Adam Uze's season from hell, 6-8-44 for the Tigers, with more injuries to come. So Richmond are in a real challenging set of circumstances at the moment, but Brisbane back on the winners list, similar with Walleyup, and a fair bit of confidence for the Lions. So Boomer, 9-18-72. How does Justin Longmuir try to address what has become a bit of an issue for Freo? They could have easily won by sort of 5 or 6 goals if they had been able to convert. And I guess Jai Amos is the player with 2 goals, 5, who we noticed a lot tonight.
Yeah, we spoke about Jai Amos, his approach to goal and how it looks. And I'm not a fan of it. And everybody's a little bit different. It's same as with, if you're a golfer, your putting style is a little bit different to everybody else's. I just don't think he's getting enough momentum. Around the ground, we tell players off for kicking off one step because there's no momentum in it. And I think it's goal kicking is very similar. Sometimes we try to change it too much and straighten everybody up. I think we've got to be more, just think of it more of a field kick. Just go with the flow. I know when I kick, for goal, I still go out with an arc on my right because that's how I kick in general play. And I just don't like the really slow approach. Tonight, I thought he got a little bit close to the man in the mark, but that's twice in what they kicked last week. Clinchy, I think that was something.
They kicked 4 goals, 15. So you can't say it's not a one-off. A one-off. It's a pattern, isn't it?
And it's not always the goal kicking. Sometimes it's where they kick the goals from. Where they having their set shots from. And we've seen tonight in the first 3 quarters, I thought their inside 50s weren't fantastic at all. It wasn't until that we got Young, Brayshaw, and maybe Walters or Sarong, it was, who all, when they kicked those 3 in a row, they were the players that kicked the ball in. They're a bit classier and got a bit of footy nous about them compared to everybody else. So it's where you put the ball for the forwards as well. And tonight, I don't think they got great delivery. Same as St Kilda, I don't think they got great delivery either.
Do you reckon that's because of their ball movement? Because
yes.
They do go slower in, there's not as much open space.
Yeah, and what else happens is, when we seen it tonight, they had the ball 75 out, and they went sideways. That just allows St Kilda to get back, and then you've got to go wide, and that's where you're having your shot from.
Let's head down to the winners' rooms with Ian Cohen.
We have Luke Ryan here with us, and he's just putting the headset on now. He's got the bleach blonde hair for a couple of extra Brownlow votes as well. Luke, congratulations on the win. What does it mean, obviously, for the Dockers staying in touch with the 8?
Yeah, definitely. It's a massive win. We knew they were going to come out firing. It's going to be an arm wrestle the whole way, and whoever really stayed composed in the last quarter was really going to run away with the game, and I thought we'd done that, and yeah, we won them by kicking points again, which it's going to come. We're going to start kicking straight soon, but yeah, it's a good win to get on the road.
9-18. I will let the boys upstairs talk more about the goal kicking, but for you down back, you seem to be reading it off the boot, the intercept marking. Have you got a bit of a roaming charter down there?
No, I just play off my man. 40's always defend first, defend your man, and then just try and read the play. And I think we're doing that. The mids are putting on really good pressure, so the forwards are making our job a lot easier. So it's a team effort.
And just quickly before we go upstairs, Michael Frederick, have you spoken to him? How's he at the moment?
Yeah, he's all right. He's a little bit dazed. I think he'll go into concussion protocols, and yeah, we'll wrap his arms around him and look after him. But yeah, hopefully it's not too serious.
Upstairs we go. Boomer Harvey and also Nathan Burke.
Look, congratulations, mate. Nathan Burke here. Excellent effort tonight. Sort of a grinding sort of a win tonight. And it sounds like that's the sort of game that you were expecting on the way over against the Saints.
Yeah, definitely. We knew it was going to be an arm wrestle. Both very good defensive teams, contest teams. And, yeah, it was going to take the last 5-10 minutes to break. Could have went either way. And I thought we composed ourselves, locked the ball in the front half and really got our game going. So plenty to take away from this one.
And I dare say you're not playing, the team aren't playing their best football at the moment. What areas in particular do you think that you've really got some room to improve in?
Probably our contests in the air, behind and in front of the ball, I thought, was a little bit down. But and also our mid-forward connection, that's probably a little bit off. But if we kick 5 of those points, we'll be putting that team away. The game should have been over in the third quarter. So, but it's not too bad. It's an easy fix. So, no bigger challenge in the Pies this week.
We just mentioned the goal kicking, Luke, and I know you're up the other end of the ground, so it might not be so much for you, but 5 goals, 14, I think it was last week, and then tonight, 9-18. Was there a lot of work done during the week on it, or do you just say, oh, that's a little bit, that's out of character and we go again? Because it's tonight, unfortunately, there's no excuses under the marble roof, is there?
Yeah, I know. Even I kicked a point. I haven't kicked a goal in 5 years. I was too busy thinking of your celebration. No, we trained it during the week. We done it after a few drills where we were a bit under fatigue and we practiced them. And, yeah, it's just one of those 2 weeks where we just can't kick straight. But that's really good, though, because we're getting a lot of opportunities. We had 20-odd scoring shots, so once we convert them, we're going to be a pretty dangerous team, I think.
Yeah, I want to ask you about your ruckman, Luke Jackson. We thought he was fantastic tonight. He had 25 touches. Marshall also was very good, 31. But with Luke, does he rise to the occasion when Darcy's not there? Because I think he's playing better football when the other ruckman's not there, and he's got the number one mantle, and he's got to put his hand up and say, boys, follow me.
Yeah, it's hard to say. He's a funny man, Dogger. He's come off the ground and goes, that's one of the best battles I've had. And they're both 2 good ruckmen, and yeah, he loves playing ruck, he loves playing forward, he loves having Sean in because they're really close mates as well, and they do get along, and he does think it's going to work. It's going to take a little bit of time, but yeah, he was outstanding tonight. Hopefully get Sean back next week and allows Dogger to. We find Luke plays his best when the ruckmen are a bit more mobile. He finds it a little bit harder when they're stronger and they wrestle him, but when he plays in the ruck, he's just like another midfielder. He's unbelievable, and he's only going to get better as well. He's only a young kid, so yeah, he's going to be a good one for the future.
Luke, it's Matt Clinch. How close was Sean Darcy to playing tonight?
Yeah, I think he trained, done his little thing, but he's a little bit sore. So I think he's had a good session today back home, and yeah, he put his hand up. We didn't want to risk it as well. It was a long break, but we had a flight. So yeah, hopefully he's done a bit of a workload back there, and he'll do main training and see how he pulls up and put his arm up for selection.
So trying to overcome that calf injury. So you're 6-4 and just outside the top 8 by percentage. You take on Collingwood, as you touched on, next week. It feels like this side has changed a little bit over the first stages of the season. Where do you kind of feel like you're at?
Yeah, it's a hard season. There's no easy games. Every game's hard. You're off by 5%. Teams can kick 5 goals in 10 minutes. So yeah, we've got to play our best footy. We've got 2 massive weeks coming up, and then we've got Melbourne as well. So 2 massive weeks, and yeah, we want to knock off a big scalp, and no bigger scalp than Collingwood. So we've got to get our game right and yeah, put the pressure on them, be the hunters.
And finally, obviously, you've got Sir Doug Nicholls round back at home next week, but the occasion of this week, to change your name to Wally Up, what are the other things you were able to do during the week to try and celebrate Sir Doug Nicholls round?
Yeah, definitely. We had a lot of the Indigenous boys come in. Michael Johnson designed the jumper. It's an unbelievable jumper, and it's all connected to his family. He's done a really good speech, and yeah, it's a special round, and It gives me goosebumps talking about it. And then next week as well, in front of our home fans, in front of Collingwood as well, it's going to be a really good spectacle. And we do our best for our boys. And it was a good win to get from tonight.
Back on the winners list, 3 of your last 4. Thanks so much for your time. Good luck against Collingwood.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Luke Ryan joining us from inside the Wally Up Rooms. Winners by 17 points, 9-18-72 to the Saints, 8-7-55. In front of 19,265 fans at Docklands. That's sort of the other part, Berkey, is they're not great to watch at the moment. They're not winning the Saints, and as we've seen with a lot of sides over recent seasons, that the fans will stop coming once the team is playing a style of footy which isn't that appealing, and you're not... This would be a match that a lot of Saints fans would think they're half a chance to walk away with the 4 points, but maybe those that came tonight would not maybe feel the same way when they roll in next week as they take on Melbourne.
No, they won't be happy. Look, Fremantle gave them every opportunity to win this game. They tried hard as they could to say, here, Saints, take this game off us. A couple of minutes to go, they're only at 10 points up or so. Take this game off us, but they just failed to be able to do it. And just having a look at the starting midfields, the ones who started the game for the midfields. So Steele had 18, Windhager 17, Dow 15, compared to Sarong 30, Brayshaw 26, Fife 23. So that's 50 to 79. Possessions from those 3 main midfielders. The Saints midfield, they has to find something in there. And for me, Jack Sinclair just can't keep trotting around the half-back line getting as many possessions as he does. What did he end up with tonight?
29, 3 clearances, 9 marks, 382 metres gained and 6 score involvements.
Yeah, so 29. Most of those were just sort of trotting around the half-back line at the back of the pack. He is the Sarong type player who's going to sort of a bit of zip, bit of pace. You're not going to get much pace out of Dow, Windhager and Steele. They need a different look in there. And
could they try Wanganeen Miller in there? I mean, he's another one.
There's somebody with a bit of explosiveness, and that's what they lost tonight. Sarong was explosive, and Brayshaw in that third quarter in particular, his ability to get to the second and third contest after the initial one was blowing the Saints midfielders away, not getting there. So it's in transition. So Seb Ross, Crouch, Steele, they're not going to be the midfield when they're vying for finals. I know they're trying players through there. They tried Philippou and Owens, all that sort of stuff. But they need someone with a bit of zip. And that's, for me, Jack Sinclair. You've got to throw him in there.
The thing with the Saints on performance, they finished 6th last year on the ladder. With performing well comes expectation. So now they've won 3 out of 10 games. They're not living up to the expectation of what everyone thought. And we all think that we're going to improve. So you finished 6th last year. You think, rightio, what's the main thing? We'll probably finish top 4, or we want to finish top 4. Well, unfortunately, right now, they're going to be finishing bottom 4. That's the expectation of when things start going well for you, that you've got to live up to that hype. And Saints are nowhere near it. I'm still, and that was a serious question before, I'm still trying to work out which team they are, because they play quick off half-back, but then they get it and they have all these uncontested marks and their forward 50s aren't fantastic. Are they a fast team? Are they a slow team? Are they somewhere in the middle? And that's your Sinclair stuff through the midfield and breaking lines. So, yeah, I'm a little bit confused about the Saints.
They come flying off half-back line, then kick it out to Hill and Wood on the wing.
And then they become stagnant.
Yep.
Wait for the opposition to put numbers behind the ball and kick it sideways a couple of times, and their stats look good, like you mentioned. But they're forward 50. If they're going to slingshot from half back, you score from turnover. That's how you score, and that's how you win games in football. If you turn it over from half back and you can go fast, they've got the players to do that. They've got to continue to go fast. They can't be stagnant going back inside 50. So they're playing 2 different game styles. It's a little bit weird.
So what were your expectations pre-season of the Saints? As we mentioned, they finished 6th last year, in the home and away season. They brought in Dow and Henry, who can both add to sort of a bit of that explosiveness and pace. They lost Billings, Bytel, who they delisted. Caulfield traded to the Dogs. Connolly was delisted, and Gresham as a free agent, plus a couple of others.
So really, you've only lost Gresham.
Yeah.
And you've added Henry. Yep. So you haven't lost, because Gresham didn't have a fantastic year, and you've brought in Henry, who was finished a year really well for the Dockers on the wing. So your expectation is straight away, at a bare minimum, it's finals. At a bare minimum. And if you're looking to improve every year, you go from 6th. There's only one spot, 5th there, if you don't play in the top 4. So the expectations from St Kilda people would have been probably top 4, but that's not the reality. That's not going to happen.
They picked up Darcy Wilson at pick 18, who looks a good player. Maybe he might be one Ross could try and give an opportunity in the inside mid to try and add that pace, but previously he's done a pretty good job on the wing. He was well held tonight. Had the 18 disposals, 5 contested possessions and 1 clearance.
But even he off half-back looked to take it on a bit.
Yeah.
Have they got, and I probably should know this at the top of my head, what's the injuries? Who's missing? Remember he didn't play tonight.
Yeah, he was managed.
Yep.
From last week.
Crouch played. He's apparently playing in the VFL this weekend.
Yep.
Potential for next week.
So ball winner, but not a line breaker. He's an inside player.
Henry missed sort of 7 weeks with a hammy, so he's just sort of coming back, but he did play tonight.
Butler and Higgins as two small
Butler and Higgins
forwards.
are the two. Well,
Butler got dropped, didn't he, the other week?
Butler wasn't in great form. Higgins
is important.
Is important for them.
Higgins is a barometer, I reckon, for the Saints.
Yeah, they lacked a small forward tonight. They got a big fella, Ari Schoenmakers, who's a draft pick, key defender, lovely big kick of the football. I think most of the St Kilda supporters are sort of saying, you know what, no finals this year. How about we start to see this big fella pretty soon? So let's hope that he gets a run soon. But he seems pretty enamoured with Dougal Howard. That's the swap. So we'll see what happens there.
Ross, Garcia, Membry, Stocker, Hasty were the 6 outs for this week, and the changes, it feels like at times rotating the magnets a little bit. Zach Jones didn't have a great night. He was the sub, but had the 6 disposals. The other one who a lot of the focus leading into the match around was Berkey Max King. So the pressure mounting on him and Ross Lyon. He's kicked 9 goals in 7 games, had 10 disposals, 1 behind tonight. You were critical of him trying to get out the back, into the pocket, wanting the ball into the pocket over his head rather than actually leading up at the player, delivering the footy.
You stand next to this fella, he's huge. He puts his hands in the air and jumps. It is physically impossible to jump from behind and spoil the ball.
We've seen that tonight on one occasion, though.
Yeah, physically impossible to do that. So as a forward, you've got to say, okay, what is my strength? What weapon have I got that's going to beat this guy that I'm playing on? Hey, you know what? If I run and jump at the football and stretch my arms out forward, well, then he can't punch it. But why you insist on standing there going, let's get it over the back, let's get the one sideways instead of coming at the kicker? And if they don't kick it and they kick it at your feet, do what Plunkett and Stuart Lowe did and say, hey, get the ball up. Next time, be better than that. And if they keep kicking it at your feet, well, keep getting into them. Eventually, they'll smarten up and hit you on the chest a few times. But when you're just purely hailing the cab out the back and you're playing against a guy who's probably stronger than you in Pearce, well, you're not going to win. He almost marked it a couple of times. Could have been, yes, a mark. The umpire said, no, you've got to hang on to it a bit longer than that, and I'm happy with that. I want the key forwards to mark it, not be given any charity ones. But it's just modern-day football. It staggers me when I watch the football amount of times where players do not lead at the ball. We were talking with the blokes from the box next to us at half-time, and they said, how good was that? Was it Tracy coming out of the forward line, led hard and a low kick and hit him on the chest? We shouldn't be talking about one player taking a mark inside 50 on a lead. We shouldn't be talking about one bloke doing that. It should be happening all the time, but for some reason, I made this point the other night. We had a function, and they said, why don't people kick 100 goals anymore? The reason why we don't kick 100 goals anymore is because we do not have a forward in this game good enough to do it. It was. You need to be an outstanding, exceptional forward to kick 100 goals. And we don't have anyone who can do it. None of them are good enough to actually do it. That's the main reason why I don't kick 100.
So Max King, 10 possessions tonight, 8 of those contested, 2 inside 50s, 2 tackles and 3 marks for the night. So
I was a bit cheeky during the week, and on Twitter I put a highlight package of Stuart Lowe marking the ball.
I did see that, Berkey. I did see
and it was
I watched it too.
How good is that fella attacking the ball in the air?
Yep.
Can you believe he's not in the Hall of Fame yet?
Isn't he?
No, he's not. An absolute utter disgrace.
Stewie Lowe isn't.
No.
Right. That's our push.
Sav Rocker's another one who's kicked a lot of goals.
Beautiful kick, Sav.
They could do with someone who has hands as big as Stuart Lowe, but what was your take, Boomer? He's Max King's being, I guess, criticised, scrutinised by the likes of Matthew Lloyd and Jason Dunstall. They're saying they want to see him compete, have more contests, second and third efforts, to just be the aerial presence as he tries to find what is his best form. Does Ross Lyon look at throwing him in the ruck every now and then just to try and get him more involved, or is he the type of player you just have to say, just got to work your way out of it? You're too talented to play in the twos.
There's a couple of things you can do, and I think for a start is he's got to realise what his strengths are, and that's not playing on Pearce one-on-one and trying to wrestle. In fact, he's 201 or 202 centimetres and very lean. Berkey hit the nail on the head when he said when he runs and jumps, it is nearly impossible to stop. So number one, he's got to work out that he's not a wrestler. He's got to get on the move. And when he's on the move and he's such a big presence, the ball's going to get kicked to him more. Right? He hasn't got people jumping over the top and kneeing him in the back and punch him in the back of the head. The other thing I'd like to see is when things are not working, doesn't have to play in the ruck. Nick Riewoldt style, Charlie Curnow style, get up the ground, take some marks on the wing. You don't have to mark the ball every single time and kick a goal. Do we like to see that? Yes, absolutely. But get on the ball, get up on the logos. When they're exiting their back 50 and they've got someone to kick to, run and jump at the ball, Kingy. Right? Turn around, kick it, sprint forward. So I want to see a little bit more of the work rate type, workman-like. And when things are not going right, that's when you've got to start saying, rightio, what else can I add to my game? So that's what I would like. I don't think you need to play him in the ruck. He's tall enough and athletic enough to do it, but they've got a great ruckman in Marshall who was just as good as anybody on the ground.
And don't give me this garbage about only 23 years of age and key forwards take a lot longer and all that sort of stuff. The other bloke at the other end who kicked 2 goals, 5, Joey Amos, is only 20 years old. Not even yet 21, and he's holding down the Freo forward line. He's the key man. He's the key figure down there at the age of 20.
And let's be honest too. He's not playing in a team with amazing ball use. Berkey, both of our teams right now, you'd hate to be full forward for those two teams.
But force them to,
and that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about, the movement. Don't just stand there and put the hand up like you mentioned a couple of times tonight. Be a big present. Run out with both arms up, saying, "Hey, look at me, I'm free. Kick the ball in front of me," and then do some work at training. Grab your kickers. Grab Sinclair. Grab Hill at training and say, "Listen, this is where I want it. Put it there. I'll do the rest."
Yeah, that's all the talk during the week was, Ross Lyon's game style doesn't suit the key forward. Ross Lyon's game style. There comes a point when you just have to say, mate, catch the ball. Mate, you've got your hands to it, catch the ball. That's your responsibility.
It's interesting that, referring to Lyon's game style, because he had one of St Kilda's best ever in Nick Riewoldt as a key forward who works beautifully under him, so it can be done. It's just, obviously a bit of work ahead for Max King.
Yeah, but they'll... St Kilda are a very good team.
Oh, no doubt.
Then as well. So things are a little bit different. And you're going, what was inside 50s tonight in the end? They had 45 inside 50s. Gee whiz, back in the day when Del Santo and Hayes are streaming out the middle, Montagna, these type of guys, that's why you're leading, because they're looking. That's when they used to drop the eyes and not just go to the hot spot like I reckon we said hot spot tonight.
Yeah.
15 times.
Yeah.
I was getting sick of the hot spot at the end.
53 to 45 was the inside 50s, the way of the Dockers. Matt Lynch alongside Andrew Mays, Brent Harvey and Nathan Burke with you. Wally up, Freo winners by 17 points, 9-18-72. York, St Kilda 8-7-55. The SMSs, they do centre around Ross a little bit. Ken from Sandringham, hi, great call and special comments. It's a pity we didn't stick with Brett Ratton. Ross could have stuck with whatever he was doing before he had a thought bubble and thought, I'd like to be an AFL coach again. Catherine, Ross Lyon needs to go. Another loss for Ross the boss. How much of this do you feel like, Berkey, is around Ross Lyon's coaching style, and how much is around their current list?
Internally, they won't be focusing on Ross because Ross is an absolute master at justification. He will have every stat that says this is how we're playing. He'll have every age of every player compared against who they're playing against, and he will have every single stat. I was on the board when he coached last time, and we'd be coming in, weren't playing that well. We have some questions prepared. He'd come in and just blow us out of the water with his stats. He knows he's a freak at it. So there won't be any pressure on Ross. He'll justify his way out of anything at all. And they brought him in to do a job, and he'll be saying, well, you brought me in to do a job. I didn't promise that, we're going to go straight skyrocketing up the ladder. Things take time, all that sort of stuff. So he's got them wrapped around his finger. So it won't be pointing anything at Ross.
So this season, in terms of finals, is gone. What about later on in the year? What do they need to target? Do they look to get more youth in? Do they look, to the draft to try and, I don't know if they could get any value out of some of their older players for a trade, but is that the path they need to go down, Berkey, to attack the next couple of drafts, or is it about pulling a couple of free agents in?
Both. They've got money apparently, so they've got a bit of a war chest there that they can throw around. So they need to get in some free agents, and they need to go to the draft. Can't be one or the other. Just relying on young blokes coming in, it's going to take too long. And they're drafting sort of. Henry was a good get. Dow never really cemented himself at Carlton, so can you expect that all of a sudden he's just going to go, now I'm going to cement myself as a really high-level midfielder for another team? That rarely happens, so they need to chuck around a fair bit of dough and get some decent players in.
And I think this year's draft is stacked with midfielders, so
that's what they need.
I think they're a midfielder short, and a good midfielder short. I know Crouch is out, but I like the line breaking, the stuff you've been talking about, Berkey, tonight, the line breaking mids who can go forward and run through the middle of the ground, have a shot on goal, be that really good ball user. If you go to draft, you're probably not going to get one of them straight and impact straight away at senior level unless he's very high end. I don't know how strong the draft is this year, but I agree. I think they're one midfielder short where they can go potentially and look around the competition and spend some money and then also grab a couple at the draft.
Most teams have 1, 2, and the top teams have maybe 3 or 4 A-grade midfielders.
Yep.
How many have St Kilda got? They got any?
Oh, well,
Ryan Marshall might be their only A-grader.
Yeah. Steele's a good player, but not from what I've seen tonight. No, he's never been a line breaker. He wins his own football, and he's a good player. I'm not saying he's not a good player, but he ain't the line breaker that's an A-grader for me.
He's not what he was either.
No,
years ago.
I agree. Hunter Clark, he's playing twos.
He's playing twos at the moment, yeah. Interestingly, he had some good numbers in the VFL last week, and they decided to go with Lance Collard, the youngster. Maybe just felt the balance of experience and youth. But the other question I'm interested, Boomer, and the vote's still to come for the ABC Football of the Year, but Ryan Marshall with 31 disposals, 7 contested possessions, 8 clearances, 7 inside 50s, 9 tackles. How damaging do you feel like his career best 31 disposals was?
I thought he was a good player. I thought he did a lot of good things tonight. The thing you look at with Ruckman too around the clearances to see what sort of ball use they're given their players. St Kilda 33, Fremantle 50. The problem with Rowan Marshall being so good tonight, was his direct opponent. I thought Luke Jackson was good as well, 25 touches. They had very similar hit-outs. One had 40, the other had 38. I thought the battle of the rucks was outstanding tonight. But I agree, Clinchy. I reckon Rowan Marshall might be their A-grader that they've got through that area of the ground. Sinclair potentially could be, but he's been playing off half-back and does what he does. He pinch hits through the middle a little bit more. He's an exceptional ball user, but yeah, I'm still confused.
He's got the potential, Ryan Marshall, to be the best ruckman in the competition, but then when you look at the likes of Max Gawn, a Brodie Grundy, you would say all of them have a string to their game that he doesn't. Even Luke Jackson tonight have a string to his game, which he just doesn't have that final piece of polish.
I would love Rowan Marshall to be able to do some ruck work and be their second forward tonight. So the problem is Owens goes into the ruck and then Jackson just jumps all over him. So if they've got another ruckman and then Marshall can go forward and say, I'm going to mark the ball because he's a good mark. Not sure about his kicking, but he's a bloody good mark. So he could go forward and actually stretch opposition with him, King, and Membry of his playing.
Well, for some reason, they had another ruck, forward who could go in the ruck in Jack Hayes. came in 2 weeks ago, did a really, really good job. Last week, subbed off just before half-time, didn't get a great run at it, and then out of the team. Chucking Mitch Owens in the ruck means that Marshall goes forward, but they very rarely win the centre clearances.
That's right. That's
so
no point being
Marshall
forward.
doesn't get the opportunity to be a forward because it spends all its time up the other end. So for the life of me, I can't understand why Jack Hayes doesn't get a decent run at it. A game and a half and then out of the team.
I noticed that tonight when St Kilda needed to kick 3 goals in 4 minutes, Marshall went forward, but the very next centre bounce, Luke Jackson was a foot and a half over Owens, and it was just like, well, there's no point. You're right. There's
Mitch
no point.
Owens is not going to jump over Luke Jackson, and that means all the midfielders then start to go immediately. They have to flick into defensive mode because their ruckman isn't going to get his hand on the ball.
Yep.
So it's okay. Jackson's going to hit it. I need to follow my opponent around. And that's the time when, hey, we need to attack. We need to sort of take a bit of a risk, get someone on the fly, hit it forward, get it down to Marshall. But you can't because you know you're going to lose the tap, so you have to go defensive. It just feeds itself. So, yeah, I'd love to see another ruck in there for the Saints.
Tom Campbell's been on the list for a long time. Third club,
Tom Campbell.
13 years, 32 years of age. He was named as the emergency as well tonight. So, backup ruckman, second or third ruckman. They have a certain longevity in the industry, which always surprises you, Boomer. The votes for the ABC Footballer of the Year. Who's got the gig tonight? Nathan.
Look, he just handed me a piece of paper and said, "You do the votes."
Well done.
All right. I hand them off
You
to
do
Kez.
normally handball. Yep.
You guys tell Kez next week that I actually did the votes and it's her turn again. She's sunning herself in Byron Bay.
That's right.
That
After luck.
Yeah.
Right.
Apparently she walked into the travel agents with a brown paper bag full of cash. That's the way they do things at Carlton.
Bang.
I've given Marshall 1 vote. I thought 31 touches for a ruck. You know, he played a bit of a lone hand for the Saints. He was certainly their best player by a long way.
He had 17 in the first half too.
Yep.
Berkey.
Yeah, and I've given Sarong 2. I thought his started off fairly slowly. He and Windhager had a good battle, but then he just outran him. He just kept pushing, and Windhager couldn't go with him. They were sort of level with possessions around about half-time, but he blew him away after that. So Sarong changed the game with his run. Apologies to Andy Brayshaw, you're good in the third quarter, but for a 4-quarter effort, I've given Clark 3 votes. I thought he was outstanding on that half-back line. 29 possessions, 8 tackles. He defended as well as he attacked. So great to see a person being able to do both sides of the game.
3 to Clark, 2 to Sarong, 1 to Marshall from Nathan Burke in the ABC Footballer of the Year. And we'll throw in Andy Brayshaw for the Christian medal for the WA Best Player of the Season. M from Melbourne has wanted to know all night, with the Pies injuries to date, how do you think they'll go against Fremantle in the West next week?
Well, I think the fact that it's over there certainly helps Fremantle. It's going to be interesting because what was Collingwood's end score today?
They won by 4 points. The final score was 12-6-78 to the Crows 11-8-74.
Yeah, so 12 goals isn't a big score for a good attacking team. You know, they do play that forward handball. Let's get the ball in there. So 12 goals is not a big one, and we know that Fremantle are the number 1 defensive team in the competition. Does that 12 now come down to 8 or 9? But you haven't got the players that can kick goals. You know, potentially next week, Collingwood might only kick 7 or 8 goals.
I still think Collingwood are a good team. I think premiers, they haven't quite. Isaac Quainer and those sort of blokes haven't really hit their straps.
No.
There's a lot of those, that level of player that is still got another level in them. And we know they can go to another level. So I think they're probably building their season perfectly. Start off poorly, get better and better and better as the season goes on. Complete opposite to what GWS and probably Geelong have done. Gone shot out of a cannon and then falling away. I'd much rather be in Collingwood's trajectory than the other guys.
And two goals to Jordan De Goey, 2 goals to Reef McGuinness, who suffered an injury, so he'll join the injury list. And Scott Pendlebury kicked 2 in the first quarter as well. Finished with 30 disposals for the match. Bobby Hill with a goal alongside Hoskin Elliott, Schultz and Crisp. And John Noble in his 100th game also got on the goal kickers list.
The thing is, Fremantle, St Kilda was still in the game at about 6 minutes to go tonight. So Fremantle, as bad as we've said St Kilda were, Berkey, Fremantle didn't put them away. And I know that's got to do a little bit with the scoreboard, kicking so many points, 9 goals, 18. They're going to have to get that part of the game right next week, their goal kicking. And I think they're going to have to be better than they were tonight to beat Collingwood. Look at the stats. Sarong, Clark, Ryan, Young, Brayshaw, Jackson, Fife. That was their top 6, 7 players. They're their best players. So I think they're going to have to go again next week to have any chance against the Pies. But they are the number 1 defensive team in the competition. We know they only have to kick 9 or 10 goals to win some games.
Not the worst time to get the Pies too. Still got a fair few on their injury list as well, so not quite at full strength.
A big Friday night in Perth. The St Kilda boss, Ross Lyon, has just sat down. Let's hear what he has to say.
Well, not really, yeah. Obviously, we're disappointed. 2 contrasting halves. I think first half, we were actually quite pleased. 28 entries, 21. Felt like in a lot of ways we left a little bit on the table. And a few of the things we come in to do, we controlled Sarong. We're always worried about their midfield and their potential dominance. So we're doing some things that were working for us. And there's always a cost to that. And then we just sort of tweaked that a little bit. So we're quite, I wouldn't say we're buoyant, but we thought we left a little bit on the table. 28 entries, 21. We wanted more of it. And then they got well on top around the ground stoppages, got ground position. And we just couldn't really, from there, wrestle it back from possession game from our back half, to be fair. We lost our front half game that we had. We had 9 attacking mid-possession games at half-time plus about 11, and you blink during the fourth quarter and you got 1 more or 2 more. So I thought they dominated midfield, clearances, outside of centre bounds probably, but, you know, they were more from anywhere in the midfield. They just dominated clearance. And we're just frustrated. We're trying to do lots of things, or enough, to stem the bleeding. We got a little bit of some entry later in the fourth, but, you know, it was only their inaccuracy that kept us anywhere near it, to be honest. So we're really disappointed. We made a lot of changes, 6. We'll keep turning things over, keep educating. We thought some of our play-away stuff and our patterns were at the lower end. Their ability to cover the colour and find people isn't the standard that I'm used to. And then off the back of all that, you can't score. So we're really positive and playing positive football and going to contests and putting their defence under pressure. But once they got all those clearances and entries, it was very difficult. So we've already had a look at it, back room a little bit, and there's some stuff to take out of it. But we walk away bitterly disappointed with our second half. We thought we were positive, played the right way in the first half. We were really pleased. But it just lays bare some of our weaknesses in our midfield, our inability to control a game. We've seen that throughout the competition. So there's no secret, but, you know, it's going to take some time to turn that around in there, clearly.
How frustrating?
I can't hear, mate. I've got a bad ear.
How frustrating is it just to see that lack of mid-forward connection that you spoke about, and just how easy it was, I guess, for Freo to just intercept and repel?
Well, that was more... Look, the start of the second quarter, to be fair, there was a little bit, but then I thought we balanced it up fine. Luke Ryan, in the first probably 6 minutes, was very good, but the rest of the second quarter was a non-issue, to be fair. That's what I thought. So, yeah, and then we slaughtered some, kicked a few out in the full and all those things. But I think they were just trying to play positive and get it forward quicker. We thought they're a strong fold-back, get-back team. I think they spoke about half-time they couldn't get back. They needed to try and get more organised. End of the game, the game swung on. We had control of Sarong all the way until the last quarter. The game swung on midfield dominance. Our ball winners in there just dried up. We threw a few there, moved a few, but it didn't change.
You mentioned those 6 changes. Are you going to continue to rotate through your squad and see what you've got?
Yeah, we've got to try and reward form. We rewarded a bit. We'll look at who delivered. Yeah, we will. We're trying to stay positive, but Sarong is a really young star, and Windhager would have learned a lot and controlled him a bit. Jackson and Marshall had a battle. Rowe's been pretty good. I thought the defenders tried to hang on, but it got there pretty quick. Some of our mid patterns and high forward patterns we didn't enjoy, just opened us up a bit. But I thought Max King was pretty positive, looked a lot better tonight, attacked the ball really well. But yeah, we've got a lot of work to do, so we're aware of it. But we probably, you get your confidence up a little bit at half time and then it just dries up, so that's difficult. But they're a pretty good midfield that's been built to get those early picks over, 7 to 8 years now, so look, we've got some work to do.
What were your thoughts on the Webster Frederick collision?
Me, what I saw, Jimmy had eyes for the ball and was going for the ball to come forward to defend game. But I got confidence in the process and the system. Yeah. What were your thoughts? Yeah. So, ball player, thought, come forward. We're seeing it a little bit, isn't it? So difficult.
Paddy Dow's first game for the club. How do you see how?
I thought he was a game positive first half. He's a little bit thin. We brought him in off too after probably a 16-week rehab, but were we desperate? He clicked into gear second half down at Wonthaggi. I knew he'd be a little bit thin, but I think he'll only get better from here. So Mateo's got an opportunity, didn't grab it today. A bit frustrated, like he's better than. I know he's better than what we're seeing. He was happy to stay in the twos to play midfield again, but we thought we'd give him a midfield opportunity as seniors because he's part of the future of the club. And look, he didn't deliver today, but I'm sure he will in time.
How hard is that connection between mids and forwards when you've got Membry out and Higgins, your two leading goal scorers?
Look, I don't think that's the issue, to be honest. What were we, 45 points at half-time or something, were we? In the 40s? We left a bit on the table. That's the least of our worries today, to be fair, I would think. But, we want to get a bit better. But, we left a bit on the table there, but that's not why we lost the game today. Thanks, guys.
The assessment of Ross Lyon following the Saints' 17-point loss to Wallylup. What do you make of all that, Boomer? Mateus Filippo had the 4 disposals. Gave him the opportunity in the AFL side, but he didn't take it.
I just love the way he manipulates the whole thing. They ask him a question, the first couple of words might be about it, and then he just goes off on a tangent that's unbelievable. They asked him about the younger players, I think it was tonight, the 6 changes, and he started talking about King that was playing forward. So he just takes it to wherever he wants to.
He knows how long press conferences go for. He says, all right, if this goes for 10 minutes, if I talk for 8.
About 12 minutes, yeah.
Then,
Alistair Clarkson tactic that if I talk for long enough, there won't be enough time for any more questions.
Yeah, and if I touch on slightly the question that you're going to ask, well, then you seem stupid if you ask me again because I've already mentioned it. So I'll mention Max King, so then you can't ask me about it. No, he's a very, very smart man in that way. The only thing that I sort of raised my eyebrows at the end there was that the scoring wasn't really an issue. And what were we, 40 at halftime? No, you weren't. You were 33 at halftime, which is not great. You can't get better conditions to play a game of footy in than here. No wind, no rain, no nothing, no sun in your eyes. So you're 33 at halftime, and then to say, oh, that's not really an issue. It's not really scoring's not really an issue. Well, it is, because you win or lose by what score you kick.
Yep, 5 goals apiece at half-time. The Saints finish on 8. The Dockers finish on 9. Yeah, Wallyalup's 9-18 is part of the story. St Kilda have a lot of work to do to try and get back on the winners list and to get back to where they were last season. And probably the list analysis will take place at the end of the year as well. Round 10 of the AFL continues tomorrow, Boomer. Your Kangas chasing their first win of the season. They take on the Bombers back here at Docklands. We get to see another youngster in Will Dawson. What will we expect out of him?
Yeah, it's good. It's another young boy making his debut for our football club. He got taken in the draft this year last year now. Backman, you know what? Has a good crack. And that's all you want. That's why young Jacko Archer's in the team. He just has a crack. And are they up to the standard right now? I'm not 100% sure. I'm hoping that he is, but they've got to give him an opportunity. He's been playing some okay footy in the twos, and that's Ross, said he's going to reward young kids playing well, and that's what the Kangas need to do as well. So hopefully Will goes really well tomorrow.
He's playing it down. He told me at half-time there in Monty tomorrow.
Can't lose.
Said, put the house on them was the exact words. He said they're ripe. He said they're ready to go. They're due.
Well, I hope we're right, Berkey. I tell you, we need a win. The old Kangas.
What was the line that his mum said? Chin up, chest out, shoulders back. Have a crack, and I'm sure he will tomorrow.
Absolutely. Against
the Bombers. Some interesting games tomorrow.
Not the best Sunday footy.
No, Port Adelaide and Hawthorn, or Yatapulti and Hawthorn to take place tomorrow, and the Eagles and Melbourne to finish out the weekend's footy. So I got a few more Thursday nights, and then we are in the middle of winter.
And there's no the fixture come out. No
more
Thursday
nights.
nights.
No, that's it.
I like the Thursday night footy. Just get home, sit on the couch, or come in here and do some work.
Weekend starts early. It's good.
Yeah, it's beautiful, isn't it?
Thanks, everyone. Thanks for your work tonight. A comfortable win by Wally up in the end, 17 points, and we'll look forward to doing it again next time. Thanks to Nathan Burke, to Brent Harvey, to Ian Cohen down in the rooms, to Adam Jones back in the studio. Great to call with you again, Maisie, to Cool Jules at the back of the box, and all of our team on ABC Sport. Wally up winners by 17 points, 9-18-72 to the Saints, 8-7-55 in front of 19,265 fans. Jordan Clark got the 3 votes in the ABC Footballer of the Year. We'll be back on air from midday tomorrow on radio in most states, on the ABC Listen app, in everywhere else, ahead of the match.